You ready?
For what?
I'm starting the stream.
Okay.
All right. Well, welcome back, everyone. We rejoin our heroes after an interesting encounter featuring the Doors of Death. Laura investigated and discovered that her previous magnum opus, the Celestial Suite at California State Park Hearst Castle, was destroyed internally and wrecked by the efforts of the H crew of enemies previously established. After an explosive reunion with Daniel and Chiron, our heroes retreated back to the hidden library previously discovered by Wally. A feast was presented to the party, and they finally found themselves to rest. Before falling asleep, David woke up Daniel with a wet willy and received a wallop in response. We rejoin our session in a conversation between David and Daniel. Everybody got their character sheets ready. Everybody got their dice. Hey, it's your fault. Excuse you. David.
See?
You previously woke up Daniel with one hell of a wet willy and a wallop to the forehead. You are recoiling with a little bit of blood pouring out your nose just from his forehead's impact.
Ow. Got some dice.
Pulling everybody's character sheet up just to make sure we're all on the same page.
Oh, it's squishy.
It's going to be tricky. The character sheet's 4 pages long.
That it is.
Sorry, I'm in dad joke mode. Don't worry. I'll get into Wally mode and be all taciturn pretty soon.
I mean, one of Shotley's character sheets is 4 pages long. There's like 12 of them.
Is that a comment because he dies so frequently?
Shotley 1, Shotley 2, Shotley Jr., Shotley the 3rd.
Man, he's not even here to defend himself, and he just stab.
You do have a fair point, my friend. All
So he's awake.
yes.
He is awake.
Is that David?
Hey, Daniel.
Where am I?
We are in Hearst Castle in a secret room. Wally knows more about rooms than I do. Those usually have big words. But there's a table with food on it if you want food.
Ooh. I find it a little hard to get up. I seem to have a ton of bruising and a couple of broken, maybe bones. Was I dragged down the stairs?
Maybe?
Man, it really feels like I even got these lumpy bruises on me in the shape of stairs.
The shape of stairs.
Wally just laughs that from the corner.
Sure enough, those are 18-inch freestanding marble. Oh.
It even has the railing on the side.
Huh?
It even has the railing. I can see the outline. It's like the 2.5-inch railing.
Ooh. Ouchies.
Yeah.
How about you look at the table, and I'll just get your stuff.
That tablecloth looks pretty yummy. What material is the tablecloth, Laura?
Velvet.
Ooh. I like to eat velvet.
Have you tried towels?
You know, I can't say I have.
Well,
are towels good for you?
I mean, they're good. I've had some lemon ones. I had some orange ones. I like the lemon ones better.
Well, just pass me some food, I guess.
And I guess when the food is gone for dessert, if Laura says it's okay, maybe you can have the tablecloth.
All right. My wife determines what I eat too, so I get it.
These were picnic-related items, correct? Are they still there, or now that we've woken up, has it replenished itself with some sort of breakfasty kind of thing?
So this is before you fell asleep. David was waking Daniel up.
Gotcha.
So it's still evening and wee morning hours, approaching 1 a.m. in the area.
Can I roll sleight of hand to steal a couple sandwiches and stuff them in a pocket before the Cyclops very obviously upends the table, trying to get the tablecloth?
Go for it.
I have a feeling there won't be any sandwiches left in a minute. Okay, with sleight of hand, I rolled a 15. Let me check my bonus. It's like a 6, I think. Might have gone up to a 7, actually. Sleight of his hand. Oh, 7, yeah. So that'd make that a 22.
Nice. So with that, you are, without Daniel or David noticing, able to pocket a handful of sandwiches and a few small pretzels and Cheez-Its as well.
Nice.
You look over, David, you look over and you see that Shotley, Jack...
David just came back.
Pardon?
David got booted for a second there. He just got back.
Yeah, you were both. I couldn't understand the thing you were saying. You were both really, really auto-tuned.
I rolled sleight of hand to steal some sandwiches, pretzels, and what was it? Chips, you said? Pretzels and cheese? Pretzels and chips? Sorry.
Berries and cream?
I stole some stuff off the table and put it in my pockets for later.
And he would have gotten away with it too if he didn't reiterate. But, Wally's a good character, so he would definitely mention it.
Munch,
Wally,
munch, munch, munch.
you're able to tell that these Cheez-Its are of a unique flavor. Not the white cheddar Cheez-Its and not the queso los that you previously had. They have a fruity flavor attached to them this time. What flavor are
Whoa. Cheez-Its with a fruity flavor?
they? Oh, yeah. It's a goat's cheese.
I'm gonna go with jalapeno mango.
I think I've had those before, actually. That does sound like a pretty good combo.
These are jalapeno mango Cheez-Its, and I cannot wait to find out what creature considers them bait. I hope it's harpies, but if it's not, it's gonna be cool.
All right, you managed to scarf a couple down, hide a couple in your pack. David, as you reach over and you find some of the food on the table, you find that there's a lot of different small fixings, as if this was meant to be buffet style, where you have some that are like little hand, maybe 1 or 2 bite mouthful morsels on the table. Some of them being tiny finger sandwiches, grapes, some fruit like strawberries as well. Lots of seeds on the outside of it, very green, and they smell amazing. Quite amazing.
Sorry, they seem what? You started breaking up for me.
They smell quite amazing.
Quite amazing.
Yummy. I'm gonna grab some of them sandwiches.
Nice.
We get a couple sandwiches. And, back at camp, people are always telling me, you have to eat the leafy things and the fruity things. And I think I saw in a picture book that strawberries are one of those kind of healthy foods. So I'm going to get some of those. And I'm going to get some grapes. And I'm going to take them back to Daniel.
Nice.
And be like, snack time!
And you would know, being a child of Poseidon, that some of the vitamin C is the most important to you.
Yeah, vitamin C.
Yep. So you easily return to Daniel, pass him some food, and he scarfs it down, barely chewing, but has this big smirk across his face, and he's very happy and elated to see you.
So I'm gonna ask if he wants some seconds.
Of course I do. I mean, is this first? This is like a few handfuls of food. Usually I eat the whole table. No, really, usually I eat the table.
Where do you get your tables from?
Usually they're just provided by the staff that work here at Hearst Castle.
Neat.
Yeah. They mostly magically appear.
Ooh. I'm gonna go back to the table. Cause are there picnic baskets on the table? Because you said it was kind of picnicky.
Yes, there's one that is a beautiful brown color.
Is there anything in the basket?
Negative. It is entirely empty, and it looks to be so you could pack it up and take it on the road with you if need be.
However, I would like
you are familiar that Terminus did say that if it's not eaten in 10 minutes, it will disappear.
I'd like to fill that with more sandwiches, more strawberries, more grapes, other snacky foods that he might like, and just fill that basket up, and then take it over to him.
Nice.
Noticing that the other Cyclops is not getting up to come and upend the table, which is what I was worried about, I would like to go back to the table and find the box for the jalapeno mango Cheez-Its.
All right, you find a few small boxes. They're actually underneath the table instead of on top of the table, and the Cheez-Its themselves were beautifully displayed in orange bowls.
Okay.
Laura,
I would like to stuff as many as I can into a couple small boxes and then stuff one box in each of my pockets.
All right, you do so.
Kirby can be unreliable. Sometimes you just got to make sure you got the loot in your pockets.
Sure. Laura, what are you eating?
Laura's gonna go with generally the same as what David's grabbing. Lots of strawberries, fresh fruit. Are there any utensils on the table at all, or just the food?
There are utensils as well. You do have some small knives, forks, spoons, plates.
Okay, she's gonna grab a couple knives to cut the tops off the strawberries and
Look around the room at all the men stuffing their faces with their bare hands and roll her eyes.
Yep, not doing that.
You see Jack shrug, Cholet lean over, and kind of quizzically look at you.
No judging.
Yeah. I guess there's worse things. He grabs a small container of sugar, spins the top off, and downs it.
Yeah. Gross.
Hey, gotta eat.
Yeah. So she'll grab just a couple handfuls. If there's a plate, she'll grab a plate. If there's not, she'll just grab some strawberries and go sit on the floor somewhere in the corner and cut pieces off and eat.
And what, throw the tops over at David and
No,
hope he catches them?
she's gonna make a little pile to put back on the table when she's done. Things she's not gonna eat.
You're not going to scrape it in his mouth and put the plate in afterwards to make sure you force
No.
it down the garbage disposal? Okay.
Laura has not encountered David eating strange things yet, so she's not going to encourage that behavior.
Gotcha. All
And
right.
see that David's trying not to eat, everything, including the kitchen sink.
Yep. So, you also notice that Chiron is off in the corner, staring at the large bookshelves that are inside there, barely taking notice of the food himself. You notice that his legs are a little wobbly, and he seems to barely be able to stand. He's definitely zoning out, staring at these books, hoping that nobody really talks to him. Daniel,
I mean, I was going to talk to Daniel first, so Chiron can have his wobbly leg time.
Sure. So is there any conversing you wish to do?
I'd like to ask David how he ended up in that elevator when we saw him driving away in a tour bus.
Well, you guys weren't the last round to come up, so after I got hosed off with the fire extinguisher, and she convinced me to go continue to do my job. I then went and continued to do my job. Took one more group up, parked the tour bus, was part of getting everybody off the Hearst Castle grounds. I was pulled into one of the alleys near the bus stops, and a really tall, hooded figure, really gray, pallor-looking skin, dark black hair, really tall guy, kind of pulled me aside and said, "Hey, I need you to come through here. I need your help with this." And before I could really say much about it, I found myself walking inside, heading upstairs. I don't really have much recollection. I was in this cylindrical, almost like a subway-like area. It was a dome top, flat bottom, but it was really, really dark and musky. Inside, I could smell dust and dirt, body odor. It was really humid and really scary in there as well. I remember before I went in that I was scared and I thought I was going to die. And there was this beast with 3 heads, and it was chasing me and looking for me, trying to find me. and I just couldn't outrun it. The whole floor I was on, every door I reached for was locked. I wasn't able to escape, and I left you a note. Did you find my note?
We did find your note.
Yeah? Well, I guess I owe you a big thank you then.
Well, thank you for leaving the note.
Did you find anybody else?
We did find that three-headed beastie.
Yeah?
Yeah, we beat it.
You see he chomps on a strawberry and chokes on it for a moment. You beat that thing?
Well, yeah, all of us did. We all took turns whacking it.
Wow.
And eventually, with enough wax on the outside and some wax on the inside, there was a lot of things that we kind of hit it with. But we did finally beat it.
Wow, you guys are much tougher than you look then. Because I thought I was going to wail on you quite a bit and knock you out. Just from our little fisticuffs out front. You guys must be pretty good then. Well, I've taken quite a beating. I feel like I've been dragged through Tartarus and back. Not sure it wasn't. But I could definitely use some rest.
You should definitely have some rest.
Well, thank you, David. You are definitely the bright, shining star to my day.
Yeah. I am glad that we found you, and I am glad that you're okay. Minus, the bumps and the bruises, but,
I think I'll be
relatively
better by
okay.
morning if I can get some sleep.
Have a good night.
Thank you, David. Good night. You see, he then waits for you to look away for a fraction of a second, just in case there's anything else you want to say. As soon as you leave to then go talk or walk away, he then promptly tilts his head sideways and passes out.
Is there any kind of blanket in the room?
Yes, there is a crushed velvet tablecloth. That appears to be the closest thing to a blanket that you've seen so far, unless you wish to investigate the area further.
Could I investigate the area further, see if there's something like a trunk that has blankets or just anything that looks vaguely more blanket-like than the tablecloth?
Go with the tablecloth, man. What if he wakes up and he's hungry?
I mean, if there's nothing else, then I'm just gonna, tuck him in with the tablecloth, and when he wakes up, he'll be like, "Oh boy, breakfast and sofa."
You do find that since this was supposed to be a bunker, essentially, for Hearst, there is a small trunk with sleeping bags, blankets, and pillows in the corner. Not horse-sized, though. Or Cyclops-sized sleeping bags.
No, but how big are the blankets?
They're for queen-size beds. He was quite a frugal guy. He would definitely spend money to make sure that he got something that was good enough for him. And as you're familiar with, you always want to go one size larger than your actual bed for your covers, so that way you have plenty of room to wiggle with.
Now, would that be adequate for a Cyclops?
It would cover about 3/4 of him, just because he's so tall. So you could definitely burrito him up with it if you wanted.
Could also unzip the sleeping bags.
And put one over the top and one over the bottom. Put a hole out for his face. Make him an Eskimo.
No. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a pillow.
Alright.
And since it seems like he kind of passed the heck out pretty quick, I'm going to take the pillow back over there and kind of lift his head a bit and stick the pillow under.
Good idea.
So he's got something more cushiony to lie on.
Roll sleight of hand.
Oh, he's unconscious. You don't need to roll very high of sleight of hand for that.
I do want to see how sleight of hand sneaky David can be, though.
Go for it.
That would be If I had to roll for it, it would have been a 10.
It wouldn't
You
have
lift his
sufficient.
head and then just slam it into the bed.
You hear a
I
small
lift his-
groan.
I lift his head and accidentally throw him.
Alright, so you've packed up your Cyclops friend Daniel with enough pillows and blankets to make sure he sleeps through the night. Is there anything else anybody wishes to do before they rest?
All right, I'm gonna walk over and sit down next to Charon.
Alright.
I'm gonna take out my pipe and fuck him if he judges me this time.
I don't think you'd enjoy that with a horse. But as you maybe as you look off into the distance, mirroring his glance, you see that he's looking at some of the titles and seems to fixate on a few of them. And one of them in particular you recognize to be former champions and heroes of Camp Half-Blood that have recently published autobiographies, and Hearst has a few of them in the local area. Laura, who's a demigod that posted their autobiography recently that Hearst would be interested in buying?
Oh.
Taylor Swift, obviously.
That's a good one.
Recent, you said?
Yeah.
Billie Eilish.
Oh, okay.
And
Definite child of Hades there. Yeah, for sure.
Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman, yeah.
I want to say Apollo for that one, but I almost feel like, I don't know, maybe Hermes?
Maybe. You could definitely read the autobiography that I would have to spontaneously come up with on the spot if you so desired to investigate further.
Laura sees Hugh Jackman's name and immediately runs for the shelf. A first edition!
Flips through it so fast it's entirely blank. Just pictures of Hugh with his shirt off on the beach in Australia.
I'm sure she would probably still be alright with that.
After a moment, Chiron seems to smell your pipe more than hear your approach since you're so stealthy. And you see his nose wrinkles for a moment, and you get recognition that flashes across his face as he looks around and then looks down and sees you. He's like, "Oh, it's Wally." Hi.
Is he standing or seated?
He is in his full centaur form, standing about 3/4 of the way to the ceiling, almost taller than the bookshelves himself.
Alright, so at this point, I'm going to look at him and go, been a hell of a day for you, huh?
Yeah. It's been a long couple of days.
What exactly do you remember about the whole situation?
It's what I really don't want to remember that sticks with me. The things I had to go through to make sure that I got here in a timely manner, I might add. It was good timing that you guys were there. I had to fight some familiar looking faces and get called a lot of really weird names because I am the one that trains everybody that kills those monsters, according to them. So they definitely had a way with words and a way with swords, and had to go drinking from some fiery rivers to make sure I was able to have some form of sustenance to get through and struggle with it. I had some help along the way. There was one Titan in particular that was definitely instrumental in providing me with a small shack to stay in for an evening. We shared some tea and it was quite nice, and honestly that was the highlight of the whole trip, because everything else was quite the low light. He's not great at making soup, but you'll take what you can get when all you drink is fire otherwise.
Sounds like you found a nice place to retire then.
Oh, no, I don't want to go back. Maybe bring him up, but definitely not going back.
Well, you're back, and you're still in one piece, more or less.
So far, yeah. Yeah.
Anxious to get back to camp?
Very, based off of your immediate questions to me on what was going on. It sounds like there's been a complete overhaul of camp, and I need to go do something about that now.
I'd say so.
Where are
Chief
we
of which
exactly?
might be finding out who it is that's there now pretending to be you.
Well, I could probably take a couple guesses, as probably you could as well. I suspect one of the goddesses in the area, probably starting with an H, might be to blame for it. I stumbled upon 3 of them underneath the big house as well. And there was Hera and Hecate. The last one was Hestia too. So it was very strange to see all 3 of them working together before I got hit with some sort of spell. I tried to escape as fast as I could, but apparently magic's pretty fast, and it caught up to me, and them being clearly very powerful goddesses were able to stop me before I could even tell anyone else. It's kind of disappointing, if I'm honest.
Well, that sounds like the next order of business for you is to reclaim our home. Should we continue to follow the prophecy, or do you think we should come with you?
That's not really my decision to make. I'm not one of the heroes of the prophecy. I just train those that are there. I know where I'm supposed to go, but only you can decide where you need to go. And if I pick for you, I don't know if that would be aiding or hindering your quest, because you might have other places to go, other things to see, and be expected elsewhere. I'd love the assistance. I want you to come with me, but I don't want to. I'm not leading the quest. I'm not part of it, in fact.
Well, you're definitely you this time. No one else can be that maddeningly evasive when asked a simple question. All right, Gino. Do you need some ambrosia, or do you just want to sleep before heading off to fight your own private war?
I would love some ambrosia if you have it, and I'm definitely going to sleep the night here before I take off.
I'm going to reach out to Kirby with my mind and ask him for the plastic bag with ambrosia squares.
Being familiar with the principles that Kirby operates under, Kirby
Oh, it's
does.
all verbal? Yeah, all right, fine. I'm going to ask him, Kirby, can I get a little Ziploc full of ambrosia squares, please?
You see, it spits them out individually wrapped, almost like sandwiches, cut into small triangles.
I'm going to toss a couple at him. And then I'm going to say, Kirby, can I also get some of Somus's elixir for dreamless sleep?
You get a small glass vial with a thick, heavy stopper on the top with a blue ribbon that slides out. Inside, the vial has a clear color to it, and as you swirl it, it turns into a peach-like color.
I'm going to look over at Chair and go, I assume you know what this is.
Yeah, I can guess. Also, you said it out loud, so yeah.
It's up to you, but if you're not interested in reliving any of what's happened to you today, maybe just a sip wouldn't be the worst thing.
You have a point, Wally. He extends his hand out towards you.
And I hand him the vial.
Pops off the stopper, takes a deep swig from it for a moment, and goes like, whoa, and then he puts the stopper back on and passes it back. Really don't have long, but thank you, Wally.
You gotta eat some of that ambrosia before you pass out.
Yeah. You see, he sits down in a chair, reverting into his more humanoid form, the older Latin professor more commonly known in his profession. He does sit down, open up the Ziploc bag and get a faint whiff of it. You notice he gets a very nostalgic look on his face. His features soften for a moment. His eyes start to droop and get heavy. He picks off a small portion of the square, puts it in his mouth, chews it a little bit, swallows, and then promptly passes out as well.
Yeah, that feeling. Okay. At this point, I'm gonna take the vial out of his hands before he drops on the floor and it breaks. I'm gonna also grab the cork and stopper the vial and put it back inside Kirby.
Alright, you do.
And then looking around the room, is anybody else still awake?
Shelly and Jack have found a corner independent of each other and snuggled down for night. You see Laura
Shall they try to snuggle the Jack?
They're not going to spoon?
What happens to the pearl stays at the pearl.
Or we never left the cave.
True.
You notice Laura stacking these small cutoffs of strawberry on the table, trying to make a tower out of them like dice.
I'm gonna walk over and sit down next to Laura.
Hey, Wally. Continues to stack strawberry bits.
How's all this sitting with you? I mean, I know it's not the way you imagine coming home.
No, it's really not. And I'm just trying to put puzzle pieces together. Because apparently the Chiron that asked me to leave this place is not that Chiron. She points to a passed out Chiron over there. And I'm wondering why the files needed to be reconstructed by maybe the people that are behind this whole thing. What my role and what the files role has to do in all this. So maybe when we all get a good rest, I'll ask Sharon in the morning, because I don't know the full extent of what the files are and what the files do. But if our enemies specifically sought me out to rebuild them or make more, I'm wondering what that means.
It may be that they just sought to get you out of the way so that they could do what they've done to this place.
It's a possibility. I mean, I was pretty integrated here. I honestly can't say if I would have noticed anything different, even if they had taken over the place.
Still,
Yeah.
the timing of everything seems very suspicious. Do you think our answers are here, or perhaps back at camp?
Well, I don't know. I was never very at home at camp. I didn't enjoy my time there. So I don't know if I would be in favor of going back if that's what your group chose to do. But the files themselves mean a lot to me. So if I would probably try to figure out if I'm needed back at camp to reconstruct those, I'd come back. But if Chiron said they weren't important and they couldn't be misused, then I might stay here.
Well, they certainly seem to have disappeared. The question is, did someone take them and then try to keep you busy reconstructing them to keep you out of the way? Or did someone take them and then someone else independently try to get you to reconstruct them? It's
Right.
certainly a mystery.
Right. Not one that can be solved tonight, I'm sure.
Certainly. You gonna be able to sleep all right?
Probably, as long as nobody starts eating the tablecloth.
Fair enough. Cyclops do snore rather loudly. If you need some earplugs, let me know.
I will, thank you.
Stuff the strawberry pits in your ears.
I'm just gonna go find a corner to sit in and fall asleep.
Alright, you find your own isolated section. David, you look off, and Laura seems to be the only one still awake as Wally drifts away.
Does it look like Laura is also getting ready to turn in? Because it kind of sounds like she's about to get ready to do the snooze.
Yeah, Laura's gonna go find another, I guess, if we're all out of corners in
A
this
6.
room.
You
Right.
know, it's
Maybe
an
under
octagon.
under the table, maybe.
It's actually a circle. No one's really in the corner.
It's an octagonal room, you know?
Yes. Oh, yeah, Laura will find another corner, and she'll pull out the blue dress in her backpack and use it as a pillow. She's not going to investigate trying to find something else.
Ooh.
Yep, she's going to use the
You're
fancy
gonna use
dress
that blue dress as a pillow.
I am. Fancy, important dress, goddess dress as a pillow.
I'm pretty sure David and I aren't necessary for the rest of this session, because I can only imagine the dreams the DM is going to give her falling asleep on that dress.
Before Laura actually goes to sleep, did I give Daniel all the pillows?
You did not give Daniel all the pillows. You gave him a pillow.
Okay, how many pillows are still there?
There's about 6 other pillows still there.
5.5. You better work quickly.
5.5.
You're absent-mindedly eating them.
Daniel started chewing on one of the pillows.
Well, if I've been snacking on a pillow, just staring off into space, I'll keep my half a pillow then. But I'd like to give other people pillows. You know, I figure unless Shotley and Jack grabbed a pillow and it wasn't already stated.
They're spooning. You don't want to get in on that.
They do also have their own bedrolls that they've been carrying around with them in their
Yeah,
equipment.
but it's a lot easier to just be like, here's a pillow that you don't have to pull out of your backpack.
Sure. They're already asleep. If you want to go put pillows underneath their heads, go for it.
I'll go put pillows near them. One of them's Death Boy and the other one sneezes lightning. I'll put pillows near them so when they wake up in the middle of the night to do that wake up, roll over, and go back to sleep, they'll see there's a pillow, and they can use the pillow then.
Good idea. All right.
But
Anything
if
else?
Laura's not asleep before she turns that dress
Shotley
into a
still
pillow,
leaves.
I'm going to give her a pillow.
You get a pillow from David.
Okay. Am I already passed out?
Not yet.
Okay. Then I will switch. I'll use the dress as a blanket and use the pillow as a pillow. I'm interested in said dress, not, whatever.
David also has blankets available for you. I mean,
Or
you don't
sleeping
have
bags
to
as
take
well.
the clearly obvious hints not to use this because things will badly happen to you. Bad things will happen to you. If you want those things to happen to you, you can just decline his offer and then be at my mercy.
Well, Laura's only
Phrasing.
experience with the dress is seeing a friend wear said dress.
That was then declared a goddess.
Yes.
And you know that
Okay.
anything from the gods or goddesses is not great.
Much less ghosts.
Great. She was contemplating putting on the dress. It can't be worse than sleeping on the dress. I don't know. It could be much worse. I don't know.
I don't know. Fumes are strong.
Mm.
Alright, so, does anybody else do anything before they fall asleep?
Nope, I handed out my pillows. If Laura wanted a blanket, I'll get Laura a blanket. And then I'm gonna lay down and sleep.
Alright, you bed yourself down as well. Wally, you bed. Everybody else finds their way to sleep. Eventually, as the evening gets quieter, you find it easier to fall asleep. Your eyelids get heavy. Your breathing starts to form a regular rhythm. Your heartbeat slows. As dreams start to come to you, you recognize that there is a magical force preventing your consciousness from leaving this area and any outside influences from coming in. You get nothing but pitch black, restful sleep for a solid 8 hours. It approaches 8.5, 9, 9.5, full 10 hours, uninterrupted, well-deserved, much-needed rest. You initially wake up, Jack, Shotley, Chiron, Daniel, Wally, Laura, and David all wake up and find the room to be almost identical to the way you fell asleep with it, except all of the food is missing and so is the tablecloth. Including all of the bags of Cheez-Its and boxes of Cheez-Its that Wally had been saving. You shake the boxes and find them to be empty as well.
Well, I mean, we knew about the food. Now, did we all wake up at the same time, or did Daniel wake up a little bit before we did?
You can go ahead and roll investigation if you wish.
Because I got a feeling he had breakfast in bed. With the tablecloth. You said investigation?
Yes, please.
Alright, DM, what does a -1 get me?
Ooh.
You forget he's there.
You wake up and in a very groggy, hazy manner start to fumble about the room trying to find Daniel. You get this immediate surge of adrenaline inside of you as you remember vividly the letter and note that he had written to you that Laura had read to you about on the wall, and you get really scared. And for a moment, you just fumble about, knocking over some of the chairs. You flip part of the table. You step on the remains of the tablecloth that are dribbling from the corner of his mouth like a long strand of spaghetti, all the way down past his toes. They're completely covered and drenched in saliva. You slip on it, you fall on your face. You wake up and you stand up for a moment, and you look over and look at the rest of your party. Everybody's still asleep for a moment. You're the first one awake, and you think they're dead. And, oh no! Ah! And you, in your very loud investigation, wake everybody else up. They all wake up with a start, wondering if they're under attack, if they're in duress. You see Laura reaches for her bag, pulls out her pen, as if ready to fight. Wally gripping his hammer, already ready. Daniel wakes up, jumps up as well, and is both fists up, ready to fight, and he actually throws a punch out at you. He's going to roll for an attack. Go for it, Laura.
Oh!
He rolls a 1. He's going
Well,
to
he did just wake up.
overextend into this horizontal blow and land falling into your chest, into your arms, landing on you. You both
Oof.
land flat on the ground. You on the bottom, him rolling around on top. Jack and Shotley jump up. Shotley daggers ready. Jack blade flipped out. Chiron bow drawn, ready to go.
Oh
Even
no.
Terminus looks about like, huh! Are we under attack, sir? How did they get past our defenses? Oh, it's you.
Man, that -1.
That's what it do. That's what it do.
Sorry. Had a little bit of a bad dream right when I woke up, or just bad memory.
You see at this point, Daniel pulls the remainder of the tablecloth out from between his teeth, pulls it out as he's like dribbling it on you ever so slightly with the saliva from his mouth, pulls it out, stands up, gets back onto his feet, pushing off of you. Jack, and Shelley looking around the room, making sure everybody's alright. Chiron gives a kind of awkward smile, shrug, and Chiron looks over at Wally and says, "That was some strong stuff. I've never had to take it before. What time is it?"
1/2 breakfast?
Wally, you do have several electronic devices that can tell time if you wish. There's also a clock in the room. They look out and find that it is 10:15. Laura gets a little triggered.
Oh, does Laura not like 10:15?
Laura's freaking out because she's pretty sure the tours have started already and there's people inside the castle.
Yeah, but we're in the super sneaky room. They won't find us in here.
Well, I mean, at least they're not people we have to kill to get out of here. Hopefully.
Say it, come on. Say it like you mean it. Laura's giving side commentary that I really wish you guys could hear.
No, it's Kate being sassy, not Laura talking.
Okay. Well, with that, Terminus does wake up as well, seeing as he's startled by the investigation. Finds himself staring at the other bust of himself and looks about. His eyes and nose, most importantly and most predominantly on his face, point towards Shotley and say, "Sir, are you ready for your second breakfast?" Right you are, yes.
Say yes, Shotley, say yes.
Wally, what's his name again? I don't know what their names are. Wally.
Sorry, what now?
What's the bust's name? These stone guys.
Terminus?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's Terminus, yeah.
Shotley looks up towards the busts of Terminus and says, yeah, right about now we could definitely go for, some omelets, toast, make it like a sourdough, get me some warm butter, and this one, and he points over at Laura, who now is holding Hebe's dress over her chest, and she stood up so suddenly, almost as if she's wearing it, and he points over at Laura and says, yeah, and this one would like some tea, too. She likes Earl Grey. Give me the largest cup you can. I don't care how you get it. Right away, sir. Absolutely. And you notice they both nod a couple of times and look at each other, then look back at the table, and a plethora of food spawns in front of you. Laura, in front of you, mere inches from you, you see a huge gallon-sized teacup appears.
Ooh.
Wow.
It is this beautiful porcelain white with a blue rim to it and slightly gray handle on it. It even has a matching saucer as well. But the saucer itself looks like a large serving plate because the teacup is a gallon size. Okay. And it is filled with piping hot Earl Grey.
Wow.
Ooh.
Does she want any honey as well, sir? I remember Hebe loved honey.
Oh.
Yeah. Laura, you like honey, right?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. You then notice Terminus nods a couple more times, looks over at the other one, looks over at Hebe on the floor, who they now recognize as just the dress, that Laura drops as the teacup spawns in front of her. Oh. Well, I guess we can get some honey anyway. They nod a couple more times, spawn a giant bear of honey as well in front of you.
Nice.
Wally, you notice that it is a full English breakfast as well. They took the cue for what they were going to be serving based off of what they perceived as Hearst, being Cholet, said, but they also provide tons of beans, eggs, lots of bacon, sausage, muffins, croissants. It is a huge spread and still piping hot.
I am going to just sit down and tuck the F in.
You notice this time, however, they don't provide any forks or spoons. It is
He'll
just
just slow you
knives.
down.
I'm going to go, hey, Kirby, can I get my favorite fork?
It spits you out a well-used, dulled-ended spork-like fork. It's just been used so much over time it has worn down.
Welding lines from where I've had to, put it back together after accidentally biting through it.
That one time a satyr bit into the bottom hilts of it. Yeah. You've had this recast and reconstructed over the eons.
He only did it once, I'll tell you that much.
All right. You see Daniel and Chiron look at each other for a moment, wondering, how do we go about this? They themselves then sit down at the table. Chiron having to sit at the head of the table just so he's got enough room on that side for his size. Daniel in a similar position next to David, so that way he's got enough elbow room and not going to accidentally have David stab himself in the one eye. Everybody has a delightful, lovely breakfast. Jack and Cholet are mumbling amongst themselves. Cholet giving the minor necessary critiques that he assumes Hearst would give, and he rolls a deception check to see if he's able to portray that role very well. Oof. He does. And you hear him giving some minor nuanced comments like, I love the blackened seasoning on this redfish that you serve. These sausages, absolutely divine. I can taste the organic seasonings that are used for it. Are these locally sourced, Terminus? Oh, yes, sir. Yes, it's all locally sourced by magic. Ah, yes. I knew this. Yes. Well, thank you. Thank you, boys. Doing a great job. Thank you, sir. Thank you. They then stare off at everyone eating and watching them eat, just looking back and forth, nose swapping from Laura to David to Wally. Jack seems to keep an eye on them for a moment, still not sure whether he can trust them or not because of how they treated David. And you see that Jack takes a spot next to David just in case. He sits next to David. Jack, when he approaches, sits next to David and whispers to him, David, I'm not too sure we can trust Terminus.
I don't know. This one gives us free food, and he hasn't thrown anything.
Yet. I hear a yet's coming.
Well, so far Shotley's wearing, well, he's whatever that is that he's wearing, but it makes Terminus think that Shotley is the Hearst guy.
Yeah, but that sounds like a disguise. That he might not want us here or trust us or treat us well without him. And without thinking that it's Hearst. So does that really make him a friend? Does that make him an ally? Is he someone we can trust?
I mean,
I remember him. I'm starting to get flashbacks from Camp Jupiter. I remember him being a real hard ass about what you could bring, what you could do, where you could go, and was entirely out of line with the way he was treating demigods at Camp Jupiter. But I don't know. I don't know if we should be so trusting of him and allow him to do this for us. He might be asking for something later in return, especially since he is a god, even a minor god. As soon as you hear Jack say minor god, Terminus, both of the heads rotate
boy.
and lock onto Jack. And they say, "Oh, I remember you."
Oh boy.
Jack looks over at Cholet, kind of inches closer towards him on the bench, elbows him swiftly in the sternum. Cholet coughs up a little bit of his omelet that he was eating, looks back and says, "Boys, he's with me. Don't worry. Don't worry. He's with me. You can trust him. Please forgive him. He doesn't know what this area is supposed to be, doesn't know what I'm trying to do and how I'm trying to go about it. Just let it slide just this one time for me, please." They eye Hurst slowly, their nose crookedly pointed at him. They nod ever so slowly, and then they stare off in the distance. And you hear the locking mechanisms and safety procedures and protocols disengaging. You hear metal cylinders sliding out of place. You hear the round spherical locks that were in the walls resolving themselves, and you hear the doors slide inward open again as they look over at Hurst. 1. He gets 1 chance to leave now. To which Jack immediately stands up, "Thanks," and then walks out quickly, almost tail between his legs, leaving. And he goes out into the main area of Hurst's personal dormitory in Hurst Castle, the state park.
I'm gonna look at Terminus and say, "Sorry about that. He's he's an asshole, but he's only a minor asshole."
For the first time, you hear Terminus give a very hearty chuckle, and it almost sounds like a small rock slide as well, just because of the stonework inside of him as he's heaving this massive amount of air inside of him. Just thanks.
Thanks for second breakfast. So, I'd assume Mr. Hurst has multiple ways to exit these premises without being bothered by all his adoring fans. What would be the quickest one for us to get to from here, do you think, Terminus?
Well, if you remember my description from earlier, my very long-winded description I gave of all of the floors and walls and stairs and hallways and doors with knobs and carpet and bedding, and you see as he trails off describing everything that he's aware of that he can only visually see from his position, and he tries to give a very well-worded answer to it, but has no clue as to anything beyond this room, but doesn't
Fair
want
enough.
to tell you that he doesn't know that, really.
Fair enough. I'm gonna stuff some more sausages in my face while everybody else decides what her next move is. Or waits for Jack's screams.
I'm gonna eat a little bit more breakfast, like another couple good mouthfuls, so that I get that nice filling amount of breakfast. I don't want to skimp on the breakfast, and then I will go join Jack outside,
Nice.
or outside the room. I mean,
Good point.
Laura's gonna take a couple sips of tea after squirting a ridiculous amount of honey inside the gallon-sized cup that she has. Take a couple drinks, shove the dress back into her backpack, and pull out her employee identification card, her name placard tag that she has, and clip it on her shirt, and then go follow David and Jack, just so they look like they're not wandering around unattended.
Good point. Good point. Daniel, taking his cue from David, stands up eventually, looks a little weak-legged for a moment, stretches, flexes his legs. You notice he's got a few bits of clothing missing, seeing that he previously had a large encounter with whatever was in the Celestial Suite, and whatever made him get dragged to the Celestial Suite. He's got pieces of his shirt and outer exterior that you recognize to be part of the security and staff uniform that he's just flat out missing. So the jacket that he's supposed to be wearing, the hat that he was wearing before is missing. He no longer has his name tag or any identifying characteristics about him other than the classic navy blue dull shirt that you see all of the other staff wearing, including Laura's undershirt looks to be of a similar color. But he definitely looks battered and a little bruised. But he gets up, finds his footing, and follows out Laura. Chiron and Wally being the last ones in there. Chiron is still stuffing his face, and you finally get a chance as he reaches up to breathe for a moment where you catch his gaze, Wally. You still like sausage?
Sorry, what?
Chiron looks to you and says, "You still like sausage?"
Do you know there are some questions that people like us shouldn't need to ask each other?
I just thought after how long I've seen you eating sausage for every breakfast I've ever known you, maybe you'd go for variety, but I guess if it ain't broke, and he gives you a couple finger guns that he's learned from Sholay over the thousands of years, or hundreds of years they've been together, I guess my jokes aren't that great, even though I practice them often. I'm just trying to make conversation with you, Wally.
Do you know, Chiron? I think you fit on the main difference between you and me. Wally says, he wipes his mouth, he gets up, and starts to march out of the room, and then he looks back over his shoulder and he goes, "If your imagination's big enough, there's no such thing as broken." And then he just leaves the room. Gave him a little Hephaestus slap.
Clearly. Chiron finishes eating, then gets up, follows you out. Still, this time in a wheelchaired human form. He has an electric wheelchair that pushes forward. What type of wheelchair is it, David? You've probably never seen him before, and you're the most astonished by this when you see it.
Is it which chair?
So it's an electric wheelchair.
Chiron's wheelchair.
It is bright red, and you can make up the brand name and description of it if you wish. But it is quite unique. It might be the one and only of its kind. What's it look like, David?
So his wheelchair, it looks like, on the outside, it looks like one of those kind of standard, like, rascal wheelchairs.
Nice.
You know, it doesn't look that great. The tires are a little bit beefier. There's a speaker somewhere inside of it that you can hear like a pop 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 pop. So it sounds like there's an engine. It's got little exhaust pipes that come out the back. So it looks like it can go pretty fast. But since it has an electric motor, that's why it's got to have the speaker that's going pop 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 to simulate an engine.
Yeah, I get it. I follow.
And it's got flames on the parts of the wheelchair behind the wheels.
Nice.
Because everyone knows the flames make it go faster.
That it does.
And just to run with the unassuming, like the sleeper wheelchair of, this thing just looks like you made it look pretty, but you can just go 40 miles an hour in the blink of an eye. It says, the brand name is Yugo.
And how do you spell Yugo?
Yugo.
Gotcha.
Just so we don't get sued,
Mm-hmm.
But the Y has fallen off
It's upside down, so it looks like I'll go.
But yes.
Nice. Alright, so Chiron catches up as everybody else is leaving. Laura, you are leading the procession since you are the one that is looking like the tour guide. You have the facade, you have the ensemble, you have everything ready, you even have your notebook out, you have your classic owl pen that Wally gave you as well, ready as you're walking about pointing things out. Where are you heading?
We're on the second floor. Okay. Alright. Well, I turn around and see Chiron in his wheelchair and go, we're going to have to take an alternate route because Hearst Castle is not wheelchair accessible and we're on the second floor. Elevators are sketchy here and inoperable at the same time. Okay. We're going to have a problem.
So where do we go then, Laura?
Oh boy. Well, two options.
Okay.
I got two options. One, we could get. I'm just making it up. I'm just gonna go for it. One, we could hit the staircase and David and Daniel could carry Chiron down. Or two, we could try to jerry-rig the elevator that Hearst installed that frequently broke down and could probably only transport 3 of us at a time.
Chiron chimes in and says, well, I need to be on my way anyway. I can just take off if that's easier. I don't know where you're heading, or what your goal is, or what part you play in this quest. Especially you, Laura. But I am not needed for this unless there's some aid I can assist you with. I should be on my way.
At this point, Wally steps between Laura and Chiron, looks him dead in the eyes, and says, "You'll not be talking to her like that, big man. You'd still be rotting in the pits of Tartarus if it wasn't for her and the rest of us. So you think for a moment before you start pissing on the people who save your life. Now, if you'd like to ask the lady what her plans are, you're certainly welcome to, but this isn't camp, and even at camp, we don't talk to each other like that."
How do I know she wasn't in league with making me having to go down there, or the one that built where I had to climb up out of? I find this a little suspicious.
Well, then go home, alone, and be suspicious all you like. And when no one comes to save you, don't bitch at us. Every time with you, it's just no answers, save me, save me. And I've had enough of it. If you're not going to participate, then yeah, horseman, you should go home. And you shouldn't be surprised that you're being invaded and that you didn't see it coming and that you got kidnapped yet again. You never believe people when they come to help you. You never help them in return. And frankly, I find it surprising any of the heroes you coached ever managed to survive a single quest. This young lady, and I'll point at Laura, has done more good for us in the last 2 weeks than you have in the last 20 years. So on your way then, horseman. Good luck with those stairs, by the way. And then I'm just going to turn back to Laura and go, so which way are we headed, by the way?
Laura's going to peer around Wally for a second and look at Chiron probably as he scooters off. Why are you suspicious of me?
I wouldn't waste your time, love. He's not worth the effort. He's old and he's bitter. And he's jealous that we got picked for a quest and he got kidnapped into Satan's basement.
Well, before he goes, hey, Laura, do you know if there's like a service elevator? Like, not his private one, but, you know, a place this big, you gotta have heavy things come up here, and I can't imagine he'd just have people carry him up the stairs.
Service elevator. Other than I mean, the employees sometimes use the broken one, but we really pride ourselves in not having to move any big pieces of furniture. We mostly do construction on site where it's needed. We could just close a room for a day. We try not to transport anything. So there's not like a modern day large elevator anywhere.
Well, I would offer to fix Hurst's elevator so that we could get the horseman out of here faster. But personally, anything that involves helping him seems like a lost cause at this point.
Laura turns to Wally. I need to talk to Chiron for a second, because I'm having an existential crisis about why this is my home and this is what I built, and I'm going to ask every single person that we run into if they have any information about this location and what I need to be doing. So she gestures down the hall, like to her left, I guess. That way is the broken elevator. That's probably your best guess. But if you want to use the stairs, they're the opposite direction. And she'll half jog after wherever Chiron's going.
Alright. We'll cut to Laura's conversation with Chiron, and then we'll handle how Wally's going to repair the elevator afterwards.
If he wants
If
to.
Wally chooses to.
Or he could use the stairs.
You suspect that Chiron has a method of getting up and down the stairs easily.
Right. Laura would like to see that.
Well, he's got a beefy wheelchair by the sound of it, especially how
Yeah.
David saw it. With the motor and engine that it's got, the improved and reinforced structure of it, and tires.
It's also magical enough to hold and most of a horse and all of its crap. So, and apparently it doesn't smell like horse crap. So that's a magical wheelchair right there.
Yeah.
Horseman's got it handled.
So you catch up to Chiron. He's still wheeling away, trying to find his way towards the stairs down. He hangs a left, finds the stairwell, and you catch him just before he starts to embark in descending the stairs. You call out to him.
Yeah. Not trying to ambush you or anything insidious. Just real quick.
Glad you started with that.
Yeah, just clearing the air really quick.
He looks at you and the wheelchair falls sideways down the stairs.
Goodbye. Why would someone want to not recreate the files, but finish the files quickly at camp, or steal files or remove files? What are, other than, human stories, people's stories, what are the files? What are they used for?
The files have always been a source of power. They are the recollection and memory left behind of the demigods that I've previously trained or have come and gone through Camp Half-Blood in one way or another. They are possibly to be used as a power source, and if Hades is already god of the underworld and able to use those souls there, why not find some memory and recollection or more power in the souls and stories of others? So he might be trying to accumulate more and more of it to not just get those that are already there or those that have been potentially rebirthed or come back again, to accumulate as much power as possible. That would be my guess as to what he's doing and why he's doing it that way.
So, human stories that have been recorded by one person or another can be used as physical power?
Even just the memory of them can be, yes. So if it's always been one of the toughest and harshest struggles I've had to deal with running the camp, because if I keep a recollection and keep a memory of them, they remain alive in some capacity. If they are alive, they can come back, they can be reborn, they can choose to go fight again or relive anew, their souls can always be used if needed as enchantment and sources of power if they are not necessarily able to pass on from this world into Tartarus, or they think that they stand a better chance or have unfinished business. There is energy and potential in that. So you could easily use that for something that either Hades or Hera or Hestia or even Hecate, the goddess of magic, might be trying to do with that. I'm not too sure what they'd be doing with it, but it's definitely a source of power. It's essentially a loaded gun.
What is the requirement for recording files? Could anybody reconstruct files? Is it only people that can talk to the dead?
It's very tricky to reconstruct files. The easiest way to do it is when they're alive, and you talk to them and you get their basic information, and you start, even if it's just a manila folder. It could be red, it could be green, it could be teal, it could be yellow, and all of those being references to the cabins that they're part of, because the more you have about the person, the more complex and deep their file is, the more it encompasses them. Their spirit is inside of it as well. You're not necessarily draining it from them, but you're imbuing this paper, this whatever you're making it out of, with energy, with power, with the stories that are being told, and that's accumulating like batteries, essentially, large amounts of energy.
Wow.
And it's tricky to do if they're already passed, because not everybody can see them, not everybody can talk to them. So the strongest people or most capable people to do so would have to be able to communicate with them.
Right. Because I've reconstructed files from living and not living people.
Well, who told you to do that?
You did? The person that is pretending to be you at camp. Some of the files got destroyed, and you came to me as I was working here and said that you needed my help reconstructing the files and adding to other people's files that were still living. But I've had to talk to a lot of dead people lately.
Well, then I apologize to you, because I have been predisposed in Tartarus for the last couple of weeks and haven't made my way here ever. In fact, I don't know if I've ever been this far west in particular.
Right. If you had to guess, is this something that Hades would have a lot of knowledge about? Like, dead people and files? How many of the gods know the power that the files can have?
It's a very close-guarded secret amongst the undead, and in particular, since I've been around for so long and had to go through a few trials with other demigods that have had to descend into Tartarus or come back from the dead, and being a chronicler myself, I have seen firsthand the power that these stories have. I don't know if Hades in particular would know of this, but he could easily be informed of this if he's not the one that's already doing it. I suspect you, based off of your story, have been manipulated in some way to leave here and to go acquire power for Hades or whoever else is making you do this or inspiring you to do this. And it sounds like you've been taken advantage of.
Should I stop reconstructing the files?
That's up to you. I will always cherish and remember and value every demigod that has come through Camp Half-Blood, every demigod that has ever existed. I have been here and will be here with the utmost hope in inspiring and leading and teaching these children that come to camp, if they come to camp, at such a young age, that are burdened by such heavy trauma, and try to provide them with sanctuary and hope and something from this life when they didn't choose to be descendants of God, and they get sent on these quests, whether voluntarily or not. And I've been burned so many times with trying to help a quest with something I thought that was so obvious, like even driving them in a car or calling a cab for them. I have seen it crash and burn and been thrown in my face time and time again by Zeus, even made fun of and stung of me by Apollo, calling me foolish. And it's really hard to watch the people you love and care about and cherish die over and over again. Everyone's different, everyone's unique, and I love each and every one of my students that come through, and I want nothing but the best for them. And I know if I intervene in a quest, whether intentionally or unintentionally, if I'm not supposed to, people die. And maybe that's why I'm so harsh to you about it, or to everybody about it, because I care, and I've been so hurt by it.
Well, I'll let you get back to camp or wherever. One last question. To use the power of the files, do you have to be in control of the physical files themselves? Like if I constructed the files in my spare time and held them in my backpack, would they still be able to be used inappropriately?
They would have to have possession of them for them to be used at all. However, as with camp, and as with all demigods, monsters are able to smell and track power, and they are meant to test demigods, and they are meant to stop and fight and challenge you to make you stronger. You, for lack of a better term, will reek of power, a putrid stench that will draw any monster within a large radius to you. The more you work on these files, the more you will be acquiring power. I still think
So no
it's
pressure.
a valiant thing to do. I myself will always keep track of it, and I'm very lucky that there are boundaries on camp, because the big house, man, I have so many records in there.
Had, but yes.
What do you mean?
No, it's fine. I'm working on it. I'll snail mail you some.
Is there something I should know?
Nope.
Go ahead and roll deception, Laura.
Okay.
Okay, I guess there's nothing I should know then.
Okay. Well, safe travels.
And to you, Laura.
So glad you went a different direction.
I'm sorry I spoke to you that way. Wally's always had that on me, and I should really not take my anger out on everyone and be so reactionary. But don't tell him I said that. Please, don't tell him I said that.
I'll leave that last part out for you.
Okay.
Not a problem.
Thank you. And you hear him rev the engine of his wheelchair motor.
Vroom vroom.
Pops a small wheelie and
All right.
all the way down.
I think that just made Laura's existential crisis worse, but moving on.
Down the hallway, you hear the engine of the elevator rev inexplicably. Boom! Wally thought it was a competition. It's like, old man, I'll show you an engine.
Laura will head back to the group.
All right, you make your
Find out
way
what they're
down
up
the
to.
hall. Wally, what were you doing during the conversation?
Well, I was fixing the elevator, but not because he told me to.
Of course not.
Now, if Laura told me to, I probably would have, but...
You managed to, with ease. You find that, oddly enough, a few of the buttons had just been pressed too hard that they broke the circuitry behind it. you're easily able to, using your Hephaestus brand finger solders, to just reignite and melt and make the metal warp back into place as necessary, easily completing the circuits. And you completely repair the elevator's front panel and construction just in time as he nods a couple of times to Laura. He revs his engine and starts thumping away. You rev the engine as well for yours. Essentially, it makes the pulleys squeal, an incredibly high-pitched noise. You have to cover your ear with one hand as you're holding down the button with the other, trying to rev it as you send your consciousness through it to try to get it to accelerate and make as loud of a noise as you can. In but a fraction of a second, the elevator ding.
I was gonna say, except mine's cooler because at the end it goes ding.
Yep. There's a solid ding at the end of it.
Right.
Ooh, chicken nuggies.
I look to Laura and wait to see. Going up, down, sideways.
It depends.
What's the plan then?
Depends on where we want to go next.
Does this elevator go sideways?
Possibly.
Neat.
Depends on how well we fixed it.
It might
Or
unintentionally
how
go
poorly,
sideways.
yeah.
I would say Wally's, he's good. He's been studying Camp Half-Blood stuff for long enough. Dimensional engineering's kind of his thing a little bit.
Alright, where did Chotley want to go last time?
Chotley pipes up. Well, since I called in a favor to Hermes, he said that we could find the information, or at least the key, to get more information for Wally out of the Harpy exhibit if we wanted to go investigate that. We can also further investigate the Celestial Suite because we should probably do something about monsters being easily able to get in and out of here and people being dragged down there. I don't think that's a great thing.
So now you want me to break the elevator? Or a different elevator?
The
Different elevator.
different elevator, please. The one that...
The
The Doors of Death.
Doors of Death.
Because that one was shaped and did function like an elevator, but I suspect it's not connected to this one.
Maybe that one does go sideways.
Maybe that one goes sideways.
Certainly seem to. Alright, so back to the, gates of hell.
Oh, the elevator. I mean, do we really want to play with that one again?
Or do we want to go harpy hunting?
Laura listens to see if she can tell if there's tours going on, if there's humans in the building. I mean, you said it was 10:30. This should
It's about 10:30 now.
should be prime touring time. I'm assuming.
Go ahead and roll perception, Laura.
Okay.
While she rolls that, is Daniel with us?
Daniel is by your side.
Okay.
He's
Laura,
a little frightened, still sucking his thumb.
Laura, with
Scared
your
upstairs.
perception skill,
Yeah.
rolling a 2,
Yep.
you find it very quiet on this floor. Deceptively quiet. The only noises you previously heard were from a wheelchair thunking down the stairwell and an elevator. You would probably hear any sort of tours that were going on in this area.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't hear any back while you were talking with Chiron for the first floor. You didn't hear anybody up on the third floor. You think it's definitely quiet. And you haven't seen any other tour guides. When you initially left Hearst's suite,
Right.
you saw one, but they left and you haven't seen them since.
Right. Maybe it's Sunday.
Well, actually, David would know.
David would know?
Well, he's got a date, so he's keeping track of
Oh,
dates.
yeah. How many days away are we from your date?
Today is November 6th, Wednesday.
Oh,
I got about 2 days?
time crunch.
3 days.
Well, he's got to get all the way back to Chicago.
I know.
We got a flying boat. We got a flying boat, though. It apparently can do cross-country trips very easily.
Yeah, but is Wally going to be your chauffeur on your date? You got to kind of ask him that sort of question.
No, I just have to get back to New York, have, like, Wally drop me off, like, drop him off there, and then we'll get, like, an Uber or something. We'll make it work. Or, you know...
I'm pretty sure Wally's just going to tell you to call the Grey Sisters or jump in a freaking minecart. I don't think he's driving you on your Gorgon date.
No, you just have to drive me to go meet her, and then I'll just get home my own. We gotta go back to New York anyway at some point. Hopefully soon.
Don't want to know about the chicks you pick up on G-date.
Is that Gorgon date?
Yep.
So Jack chimes in now as well and says that, well, we don't know what's on the other side of the doors of death. Chiron was a little less than helpful with the description of the other side, as was Daniel. No offense, Daniel. As he looks over, Daniel shrugs and says, "None taken. Words aren't my strong suit."
Hey, mine neither. Not.
Gives you a high five.
Best friends.
Jack continues as he's looking over at Laura. Well, it might be best to handle things above ground before we go below ground. Or we could just not care about that and go below ground.
Everybody's got to die sometime.
Why you gotta phrase it like that, Wally?
Oh no! As long as we make it, I don't want to miss my date.
The real quest, the real timeline revolves around his date.
Well, since I don't want to deal with Persephone again in this lifetime, I agree that we can avoid Elevator for now and come back later.
Alright, so that means we're going to where?
Harpyland?
Harpyland! They have good churros.
Ooh, churros do sound like a good mid-afternoon snack. Let's go to Harpyland.
Say it into the mic, Laura.
Oh. I said the polar bear exhibit has churros? Laura's confused and concerned.
Laura,
no, I was talking about actual Harpyland. Actual Harpyland, they have fantastic churros. At one of the sections in Walt Hades World.
Shelley frequency.
Yes.
Shortly's got a season pass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he used the buy 5, get 3 for the price of 3 pass.
Oh, jeez.
So where are you going?
My vote is let's go deal with the Harpies.
Yeah, we decided to join the Polar Bear Club. We were just waiting for Laura to lead us there.
First floor it is.
Alright, in what manner do you descend to the first floor?
Laura's not going to touch anything, because she's probably been stuck on this elevator before, and she's going to let Wally do all the button pushing. And
Oh, sweet. We're taking the elevator that Wally just fixed?
Is there a weight limit on this elevator, and will we all exceed it?
That's an excellent question. Too late. The doors are closing.
We're stuck and back again.
Alright. Wally, go ahead and make an intelligence saving throw as you try to commune with your front panel of the elevator.
As I attempt to keep David off the elevator?
Everybody gets in, according to what you said.
Here we go. Intelligence saving throw.
Yes, sir.
I don't feel very safe.
Nor should
You need
you.
an adult.
Wally's the adult.
Actually, Shelley.
I don't know about all
Shelley's
that.
not the adult.
We're going by age.
That is a... Oh, snap. Intelligence. That's a 61. No, just kidding. A 19 plus 7 is a 26.
Nice. All right. So, Wally, using your innate Hephaestus demigod abilities that you're able to get from being the son of Hephaestus, you are able to interact with this panel on a intellectual level and mechanical level. You recognized, since you did all the repairs and were previously able to communicate with it and send your understanding through it, you are intimately aware with all of the wires and pulleys and gears and motors and everything about it. You recognize as David, before Daniel steps on, he himself exceeds the weight limit.
Oh boy.
As Daniel steps on, you recognize this cable that you're on and motors and clamps that are holding it in place are easily going to break if they move even the slightest inch.
I look at the two Cyclops and I say, "Oh, guys, back up, back up. I think I saw some Cheetos on the ground." Do both Cyclops back up? It might be a towel, actually.
With
We
that,
back up.
Daniel looks, towel? Huh?
And as they back up off the stairs, I go, "Oh, no, you just missed it. I'll tell you what, let's play another game. It's called Who Can Run Down the Stairs and Meet Us at the Elevator Fastest."
Oh god.
Oh, you better hurry up. Daniel's going to beat you.
Pardon?
David starts going for the stairs.
Is this performance check working?
Yeah, you're role playing it quite well, so you're not having to roll for it. You do know that with Laura, no offense to Laura, you, Shotley, and Jack, you also still exceed the weight limit.
Oh, for the love of...
You look up and you see the maximum occupancy sign says 2 people on it.
Hurst was made of packing peanuts, for crying out loud.
Shotley gives an elbow to Jack, says, "Looks like you're walking." Says, "Well, fine then." And he stumbles out as well, chasing down as Daniel and David sprint off. David, go ahead and make an athletics check.
Ooh. This time I know I won't get a -1.
Fall down the stairs and find a towel.
You trip on a towel and fall down the stairs.
Get a towel both ways.
You get a towel.
Okay. Share with the class. So David got a... Well, dams. David got a 23 in athletics.
Nice. Laura's going to roll for Daniel.
Okay, I was like, Laura's not going anywhere. Okay.
Are Laura and
Dang it!
Shotley going to be the ones in the elevator?
Oh, I suck at this today.
Oh, yeah. You rolled a 3. He's got a +6. So that makes it a total of a 9. David, you immediately take off sprinter's gallop, and you are easily able to outrun Daniel. He catches you as you are descending the stairs. He is just rounding the corner. You're already 3 sets of stairs down, heading in a direct, nothing can possibly stop you. You hurtle over as one of these small members of the house staff are walking past. They have a small push cart that they're taking from one area to another that has bits of artwork and
Oh, no.
I don't know, I did really good on that check, so I might just be able to vault it like a hurdle.
yeah, absolutely. You notice that she's got this cart. It is silver, has 4 wheels on it. It's got a nice little handle on her side of it that she's pushing forward. It's got a very large, ornate frame for a painting. It's got some oils and things that were previously laid out upon it. It's going from one room to another, and she's pushing it through the hall. You are easily able to see it coming, stop on a dime, and jump around her, not even having to talk to her or topple over or disturb any of it, and you easily just maneuver your way around it. You get halfway to the elevator, and you turn back around. Pardon? Well, he's already descended the stairs.
Oh, okay.
Running through the halls towards the elevator.
I got confused.
Cool.
Go back.
So, you manage to dodge this push cart. You get halfway to the elevator. You suspect that your friends above probably haven't even decided yet who's going to be staying and going, but you're already almost there.
Yeah.
As you reach the elevator, you hear behind you in this loud clatter a lot of warped metal, a lot of screaming, and
Oh no.
a lot of spilt liquids as they pour out into the area. You're Who are what? Daniel? What are you doing?
Currently losing a race.
You shout that back.
Losing the race.
Sorry, Dana, gotta go. He then manages to pick himself up and run towards you, David. As you look back, you reach the elevator stop, put your hand on it, strike a pose. Easily the first one there. Definitely the winner of this race. He turns the corner and he is covered in paint. He's got stripes going in different colors, in different ways and directions, all across his shirt and face. You notice his pants are missing. He's a mess.
What?
The pants are missing?
All right, let's cut back to Chotley, Jack, Laura, and Wally.
I hope he's wearing underpants.
Laura, this is a roleplay part for you where you can choose whether you're staying or going, and you're going.
Oh, because I thought you were talking to me about something else. Laura's gonna stay in the elevator.
Chotley looks.
I'm gonna look at Chotley and Jack and be like, you
Jack
know,
left.
you're gonna make her get off the elevator, gentlemen? So, very good manners.
Wally, I'm gonna make you get off the elevator.
I fixed the bloody elevator, and if I'm
That's
getting
it.
off it, Jerry
That's
rigged the
That's why
button
you
up
shouldn't
right
be
so it
on it,
falls.
because if it breaks, nobody else can fix it. Shouldn't you not go on its maiden voyage?
I fixed it. I'm confident in its ability to work. If you make me get off it, I might, just have to mess with it while you're going down.
And you do that with Laura in it?
This is Chotley I'm talking to, right?
Correct. Jack has already left.
Sure, you're lucky I don't murder you in your sleep. It's just that simple. And then Wally just turns around and walks away, absently eating the string of sausages that was still around his neck and mumbling to himself.
Alright, now how do we operate this elevator?
Exactly.
Yeah. Laura just ignores him and hopefully she'll. Does Laura remember how to work the elevator from when it was first installed?
Yes.
Okay, good. She presses the one button.
Nice.
Great.
You descend to the first floor.
Huzzah!
The elevator itself continues to descend ever so slowly down past the floor.
Aww.
The grates open as you're about halfway through, going down even further.
So,
Dive out and get cut in half, obviously.
yeah, we're half.
You see that half the elevator shows the first floor, the other half shows a solid section of wall below it.
Great. Laura pushes the 2 button.
The grate shuts. The elevator chimes and starts to slide up and then gets back to the second floor. Opens and descends halfway between the first and second floor.
Dang it! Okay.
Chotley looks at you and says, well, I guess we're getting out then. And he quickly dives out of the elevator as fast as he can. Go ahead and make a dexterity saving throw for Chotley.
Whew, you're about to get sliced in half and die again.
Gotta make me stop rolling.
I'm going to have you stop
I
rolling.
gotta just. You have to use the dice.
Alright, he tries to maintain eye contact with you, Laura, as he dives. He misjudges the height as it's still descending, and he bops his forehead onto it and slides out onto the first floor with a loud thwack as he covers the 6-foot drop that is now present from the edge of the elevator as the elevator itself is still slowly descending.
Oh, so I'm sinking again.
You're sinking, but you're getting more and more of the first floor as you're going.
Right. So I'm going where I need to, but slowly.
Slowly.
Well, you were at half and half.
Right. So now I'm going down to the first floor.
Yeah.
Really slowly.
Just slowly sinking.
I guess I'll just wait.
For the ever
I
encroach
don't
of
know.
death? Like what?
Right. Death comes up to us all. Might as well die in the elevator.
What?
Laura
Oh no, you're not
pushes
getting out of this that easy, Laura.
Yeah. Laura's gonna. Does the grate slide closed again?
The grate is open.
Okay. Okay.
That's how he got out.
Great. And as it's sinking slowly, how slowly?
Inch by inch.
Ugh. Okay. Can Laura still? Are we talking like 3 feet? We talking like 1 foot?
It was previously 6.5, and Cholet started to slide out, bonked
Right.
his head. Now it's 6 feet. So you are
Oh.
exposed to about 3 feet of the first floor, and another 2 feet of the second floor. And the second floor portion that you see above it is slowly diminishing, as the first floor portion below it is increasing in size.
Laura copies Shotley's move without the head bashing. Tries her best.
Nice.
Slides
Go ahead and
out.
roll a dexterity saving.
Great. Okay.
Much better that time.
Yay.
You easily slide out and keep the perfect crease still in your skirt as you land.
Okay. Sticks the landing.
Boom, 10 points.
Yay.
Even the Russian judge, David, gives you a squiggle that you suspect to be a 10.
Yes.
It's like a backwards 9.
It looks like an upside down 6.
Good. Got it.
Alright. You're all on the first floor. Jack looks to Laura. Where's the harpy enclosure?
It is the old polar bear exhibit. If we were to, hypothetically, not suggesting it in the slightest, if we were to get back on a bus and make our way back to the visitor center at the bottom of the hill, we would pass it. So it is outside the gates of the Hearst Castle property.
So should we sneak there? Should we get on a bus? Because then we have to convince somebody to let us off. Oh wait, we have Daniel.
Yeah. I mean,
I could drive us. I don't know if my bus is still here.
yeah.
And other than Dana, I haven't seen anybody else here. Do you know Dana?
Yes.
No. I don't know. I was new to you. You didn't know me.
No. I know Dana. She's in charge of the... I don't know. I don't remember. I think it's the wrong name. I'm remembering the wrong name. I don't know if I remember Helena. Yes.
Well, Helen.
Helen.
Helena was
I
the
know-
one from the Great British Baking Show we just watched.
I know
The
Helen.
one who got
I
eliminated
don't
in the
know
same
Dana.
episode as Michelle. Spoilers.
Spoilers. Okay.
She is not Series 7 winner.
Daniel could definitely charter a bus. Or any of the multiple employee vehicles. If we know where the keys are. Or we could just walk.
I don't know, how long of a walk is that?
Oh.
It's
2 miles.
about a 2-mile walk.
It's not bad.
I mean, you could just hop some of the fences by the Roman pool. That'll get you a little closer instead of having to take the whole walking path.
Oh.
I don't know, what do we want to do?
If we go to the Roman pool, then maybe Daniel could show us the quickest way from there.
The path just circles around by there. You could easily hop that wall and just walk the rest of the way.
True. And that's where the bus picks up. Okay.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Well done, Laura.
Okay, I start leading. So on the first floor, Casa Grande. I start leading them towards the Roman pool.
All right. I believe Laura has some information on it as well. If
Oh,
she wishes
you want me to read
review
it?
Yeah.
Okay, I can read the Roman pool. Okay.
As you approach the area, you notice that there is not just a pool. You notice that the only part of it you can see from the exterior is the tennis courts above it as you approach.
Good? Okay.
Are the polar bears playing tennis?
No, there are currently no animals nor staff playing tennis on the top.
Just making sure.
You never know.
Ain't
Right.
nothing scarier than a white Wimbledon.
Are there any ghosts playing tennis?
Laura would have to be the one to roll investigation to check for that if she's so inspired to
For
look
dead
for it.
people?
If you see dead people, yes.
Yeah, okay.
But she's trying to read a description for us.
That's okay. Polar bears playing tennis. It's interesting. All right. The tennis courts sit atop the indoor swimming pool and form a portion of what was to be the recreation building. Hearst once wrote to Morgan that the tennis courts are the most used amusement features of the ranch. Glass skylights were installed in 1935 on the courts to help bring more natural light into the Roman pool below. The indoor Roman pool design consists of more than 1 million Murano glass tiles, some of which contain a layer of gold leaf inside. The main basin of the pool is 81 feet long and 10 feet deep. The pool is the most completed portion of the recreation building, which was also intended to house dressing rooms and squash courts. Squash. But yes. First floor, we need to go down a hallway, ignore the fact that everything's smashed. Laura's got her horse blinders on, not paying attention to any of that. Out the front, around the corner. There it is. Look at you. So nice.
That is me.
That is you.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, this is me. And this is the Roman pool. If anybody's interested in visiting there or seeing it, it is quite the sight and quite the spectacle. Just above me on the left-hand side, there is a diving platform that they use frequently. However, yes, as Laura's pointing at my screen that nobody else can see.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Well, we also have some pictures that Wally is posting in the chat for us in case we're interested in finding those. The bottommost one that he's posted there, that is the Neptune pool.
Mm-hmm.
This middle one, that is the Roman pool, as we were describing to you. So, David, as you get within nose range of this pool, go ahead and make a wisdom saving throw.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, dun 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 is right. Please be good. That is going to be a 6.
All right. You get the very familiar whiff of salt water as you're approaching this area. On the grounds, Laura points out as you're approaching that the tennis courts are the immediate level area from the esplanade that you're walking across. She does point out the descending stairs in front of us and does say that the Roman pool is below. David, you are currently under the effect of Charmed, and in particular, you get a very nostalgic sense of smell, something that you immediately associate with your father and the interactions you've had with him while you were in Chicago.
I mean, I'm liking the nostalgia. I'm concerned about what's going to happen with it.
So do you descend the staircase to get down to the indoor Roman pool?
Can I stop at the edge of the pool, or if I go down the stairs, am I going in the pool?
If you descend the stairwell, you get into the walking area around it. So on stream presently, I'm showing the picture that I took of the photograph that's at Hearst Castle that shows the entranceway. Yeah. So there's 2 entrance points that you can choose from. Laura would point to the closest one to you, which is the one on the far right near the lifeguard life-saving devices. Yes.
Sorry. I don't have... I'm not seeing your screen, so I'm assuming it's on Twitch?
Correct. Let me share it with you just in case.
Oh, found it.
Nice. So are you using the Discord or are you using Twitch?
I found you on Twitch.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Much easier.
So, now,
So
it will load up the screen, because it's showing me a black screen on your Twitch.
It's lying to you. I can see it.
Yeah, I had a feeling it was lying to me.
I can see clearly now that the rain is gone.
good reference.
I can't see any obstacles in David's way, though, so go ahead and roll that death saving throw as you step into the water.
There is a small black guardrail around the edge as you approach that impedes your path forward.
I thought you were going to say a small black garden snake. I was going to be like, here he comes. Friggin' black mama in the Roman pool. Why the hell not?
Now, okay, so now I can. Okay, so now I can see your stream.
Nice.
So this indoor pool is the pool that I'm catching all them nostalgia whiffs from.
Yes. You catch all the nostalgias and feels from it.
I am going to walk down the stairs. Is everyone walking away from here, though?
You notice that there are no other tours present.
I mean, like Wally and Laura and not the nameless masses, but the people that I'm adventuring with.
Daniel and Jack seem to follow you. Shillay gets a little distracted, starts to wander off. Jack grabs him by the scruff of his shirt, pulls him with it. It's like, come on, we're following David. His nose has caught something as they see you almost cartoon-esque floating on the faint aroma that you have wafted.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, like, I'm just pitched so far forward that my nose is literally leading everything.
Pretty much.
All right. I'm going to walk towards the pool.
All right. Wally, Laura,
Mm-hmm.
what do you two do?
Do I notice Dave? Yeah, okay. I guess I just kind of like put my hands out and kind of make sure he doesn't like get too close to the railing or get, go near the pool. Just make sure he looks like he's not really paying attention to anything, so I'm just worried that he's gonna fall or trip on something. I don't know.
You notice as he's
Follow
walking
David around.
and descending
Touch
the
something he
stairs,
shouldn't.
Yeah.
he does walk, and you see just below thigh high on him, he does immediately run into the small railway that is stopping him from going forward, and he seems to be halted by that for the moment. David,
Yes.
you are immediately filled with the visuals that you previously received when you first donned your diving suit helmet. The starry night sky is seeming to be reflected in the deep blue and dark tiles below the surface of the water, you notice that it looks very much reminiscent of the night sky that you saw when you first tried on the helmet.
Oh boy. I mean, that's cool, but that's also a little concerning because, even David knows the sky's up there, not down there.
You can't help but feel yourself compelled to move forward to try to get into the pool.
How far away is Laura from David?
6 inches.
Okay. Well, as Laura, is right there as David hits the railing, she grabs his left arm and tries to pull him away from the railing.
Go ahead and make a strength check.
Yep, it's gonna end poorly.
Boy, I think you're both going in.
I think at least it wasn't a saving throw.
Yeah, we're both going in.
David,
Oh,
go ahead and make a strength check with advantage.
no. Sorry, I only have the 120 out, so I'm going to do 2 rolls for that. So, strength check. First one is an 18. Let's see if I beat an 18. Oh boy! So, who else wants to join me? Because this you should not have given me advantage, DM.
Huh.
It's a nat 20 with my strength plus, that's a 24.
Alright, Laura, since he has beaten you by more than 5 on his strength check to resist your grapple, he instead unintentionally forces you over the railing and into the pool.
Aww.
So Laura goes in before I do?
Laura goes in first.
Oh,
Laura
man.
gets thrown
Laura didn't-
over the railing and into the pool.
She didn't even have time to empty out her pockets.
No, she did not.
She's still carrying her tea, dude. It's in the GIF.
Yep.
Yeah. Unfortunate.
That it is. You do descend the surface of the water. It becomes an inky black viscous liquid, and as you watch, she descends further down, and eventually, after a few moments, David, you hurdle the small railing in front of you, only to be stopped for a moment as Daniel grips you around the waist, as he says, "Hold on, stop, wait, think about it." Go ahead and make another, this time athletics check with advantage.
Athletics with advantage. So, alright, I gotta beat a 19. Nope, so it's gonna be a 19 with my athletics check.
All right. So Daniel does not break your hold and is not able to maintain a grip on you, and you yourself feel compelled and pulled further and further towards it, and you belly flop, whack onto the surface of the water, and you sink in as well. Jack and Sholay look at each other and look back at Daniel. I can't swim. I can swim. I can't breathe underwater. So I don't know what's going to happen on the other side. But I guess we're going this way now. Wally? Any suggestions?
Are you saying we climb into the pool of evil juice?
Well, I mean, look, they're not coming up. They seem to be going to somewhere.
I mean, as dark as it is, might they not just be dead at the bottom of that pool?
I mean, we can always try. Do you want to tie a rope to us and rope to the rail? I think that's actually a great idea. I think you're right, Wally. Let's tie a rope to Shotley, throw him in, and hold the edge of the rope and try to pull him up with Daniel's help if he doesn't, come back up on his own.
Sure, yeah, let's throw Sholay in.
Wait, what? Hold on. Jack quickly pulls out some rope from his pack, starts to tie knots around the railing, passes one end of the rope to Daniel, says, "Tie him up." Daniel quickly grapples Shelley. Hold on, wait, what? You what? No, please. They quickly tie the rope around his waist. Daniel heaves Shelley. 1, 2, no, please stop. 3, and throws him in. Splash. And just like the gift that David has posted, does descend into the inky abyss below. The rope continues from the coiled position around your ankles and just keeps descending, until it gets taut and tugs on the end of the wrought iron gate the small metal railing that is surrounding the pool. The rope gets taut for a moment, and then the tension on it loosens and goes slack.
Somebody want to reel him in?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Daniel grabs it and starts to heave it up as hard and as fast as he can. And then eventually he finds the edge of the rope is frayed as if cut by a dagger.
Well, either he did that or someone did it for him. But either way, we're not getting him back unless we go in after him.
Okay.
Wally just unceremoniously grabs his nose with one hand and does a cannonball.
All right. Wally jumps in. Jack jumps in. Daniel, being the last one there, kind of shrugs. Guess. Falls in himself and descends into the black inky abyss. On the other side, we get something really cool for you guys.
Now we get to find out what the afterlife is like.
And what it smells like.
Pretty much. All right. So on the other side, you get the distinct visual as you are descending from the sky. You are in freefall. And as you look down, you notice that you see Laura, you see David, you see Jack, you see Shotley, you see Wally. Everybody is purely falling as you're then looking out over an endless expanse of ocean around you. And you see off in the distance a island that, if you're looking at the stream, does appear to be Troy. Hey, imagine that. Yeah, do that. We get to Laura's encounter with the water first. Laura.
Yep.
You are in free fall.
Yep.
About 600 feet above the surface of the ocean.
Oh boy.
I mean, the options are fairly obvious. Do something or die. It's your choice.
Fantastic.
Do the do. I mean, blub blub blub.
And let me grab you your character sheet.
Okay. I don't know if I have anything for this.
Let's look up your cleric domain. Since you are a cleric, you get at level 3 to pick your cleric domain.
Great, which we already picked.
Yes. Do you remember what domain you picked?
I think you said it was great, or no?
You had the option of being grave, or you had the option of being knowledge. Do you remember what you chose?
What does it say on my character sheet?
It says life, because I did not pay for D&D Beyond.
Ah.
So I had very few options.
I think you kept saying that I was grave, but
Correct.
okay, we'll go with that. Maybe I'll die faster. I don't know.
What? Sad?
No, I said it's hot, and I'm trying to get in front of the fan.
Sorry, I thought you said sad.
I'm also sad.
I would hope so. So as a grave domain cleric, you have options for spells at your disposal. None of them
None of which will help.
particularly useful at this exact moment.
Of course.
But you do have several other spells you can choose to cast. As you reach into your pack, you do know that the pen that Wally had given to you that had the owl-like features to it
A little
seems
owl
to
on top.
come alive in your hands as you previously were using it to gesticulate with. It seems to animate itself and, beyond its own volition, starts to de-feather parts of itself. As it picks off one or two of the feathers, they do pull off, molting from this metal contraption Wally has built, and they do ascend as you are in free fall, falling faster than the feathers, casting Featherfall on the party as you are descending down towards the ground. So would you like to read the spell Featherfall?
Sure. I can do that.
Everybody thought that pen was such a lame gift.
I was just wondering, what would happen with
Gave her a
that.
bedazzled notebook, a super awesome trapper keeper, and the pen wound up saving everyone.
Alright. So it's a level 1 transmutation spell.
And you just want me to read the description?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Choose up to 5 falling creatures within range. A falling creature's rate of descent slows to 60 feet per round until the spell ends. If the creature lands before the spell ends, it takes no falling damage and can land on its feet, and the spell ends for that creature.
Alright. You all are in free fall above the city of Troy. As you are descending, you are able to get your bearings about you and glide in any direction you see fit, or plummet straight into the ocean if you would rather. Where would you all like to land?
Well, first of all, which one of the 6 of us did not get it touched by that spell?
Jack,
Oh, okay.
because he can turn into a bird.
I'm so glad that's the way that went. For a minute, I was like, is Daniel a red shirt? Oh, no.
Yeah, well, Laura's not a huge fan of Jack, so.
What?
He didn't like her castle! Laura didn't even know he could turn into a bird. Like, whatever.
So Laura's like, you don't like my castle, you can be a you can be a smear of dust on the ground. Ah, dang it, he can turn into a bird.
I'll just pretend like I knew that the entire time.
Of course.
Are you saying this as you're free falling?
No.
Alright, I choose Daniel and David and Wally and Shotley and fuck you, Jack, and myself.
I'm gonna float closer to everyone else.
Same, I'm gonna float closer. So we can all kind of like
yell.
so we can all just kind of group up, pick a nice place to land.
Seeing as you're all gathering about to talk to each other.
Are we still falling?
Yes.
Okay.
You have slowed your descent
Good.
to 60 feet per round.
So we need to decide if we're going to land in the ocean or in the city on land.
Yes, and you are still about 600 feet in the air.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got some time now. It's
Okay.
probably going to be about a minute and a half until you are on the ground. How long does the spell last?
I think. Creature lands before the spell ends. Oh, it lasts a minute. We got a minute.
It's going to be kind
So
of close.
Yeah, we better think fast because those two, he points at the 2 Cyclops, definitely won't be mistaken for birds.
Is the map that you're showing them now?
Yes.
We're kind of standing out. Let's pick a spot.
The now colored map that I'm showing on the photo editor on stream is where you can choose from where you'd like to land. The tan color is the sand and coastline. Blue is water. The green, that almost looks teal, is grass. Gray is undisturbed and unused space. Orange is building. There are several roads that lead into and through the city, and there is a much larger castle-like structure in the northeastern corner of the map that has a round defensive formation around it. More walls, essentially.
Is this ancient Troy, or do I see like power poles and the sounds of tourism and things like that?
This does appear to be ancient Troy. You do see that there are several boats out in the ocean as well that are approaching. A large fleet behind them as well.
Oh.
David sounds like he's familiar with what's about to happen.
Do the boats look angry?
Yes.
David knows what he wants to ask.
Okay. I'm going to point at a stable somewhere on the outskirts of town, relatively near our position, and be like, why don't we just sneak in there and try to get our bearings? We stick out a bit up here, don't you think?
I like that plan, especially if we're probably gonna stick out a lot.
Yeah, probably should land. This floating thing's a little weird. I'm not used to it.
You telling me it doesn't remind you at all of anything else you do all the time? This ability to move freely in 3 dimensions, unaffected by what's around you, does not in any way remind you of something that you do all the time? Wally just rolls his eyes and starts flying towards the stable.
David's gonna be like,
oh yeah!
the air's not wet. If this goes wrong, we splat on the ground.
You don't get wet when you're in the water anyway.
You know what I mean.
How do you even know what wet feels like?
How do you think I knew I had
what
the
she
right
said.
amount of spit for the wet willy?
Oh boy. Don't make me throw him up there again. Okay, so is that the stable that we're at, that you're creating?
Yes, this is the stables. This is the furthest from the center of town stables you identify as you are descending.
Cool.
All right.
The in-demand stables will be closer to the center of town, I would assume. That's where all the rich horses live.
Mm-hmm. The ones that get the nice, fine white cheddar cheeses.
That's right.
Ah.
All right, David, what color you want to be?
What color horse does he want to be?
No, I mean, what color star does he want to be when I put him on the map?
Oh, okay.
Blue, please.
What?
Blue, please.
Blue.
'Cause water boyo.
Water boy. All right. There's a blue. Shelley is gonna be a gray. Jack's gonna be a yellow. Wally, what color you want to be?
Is red already taken?
Red is not taken.
I'll go with that. It's flamey.
All right. Laura, what color you want to be?
Teal.
I despise that color.
Laura's gonna need to roll a new character.
That's so pretty.
And Daniel's still available. What color should Daniel be?
Purple.
Purple. Great color choice.
Excuse me.
Te perdono. All right. So, I need everybody to make an acrobatics check, please.
I'll do Shelby first.
Shelley first. Okay. Nice. Jack?
He's pretty acrobatic.
Jack.
No, Jack doesn't do Mecha, actually.
Okay.
He uses his wild shape and descends.
What do you want
like
to
a bird.
say, Daniel?
No. That's
Daniel.
okay. Make sure you say who it is for before you roll.
Laura.
Okay. Because if you roll poorly, you can be like, oh, that's Shotley.
Oh no. Yes.
Cholet fell down.
Yes. Okay.
Shortly buried his head in the sand.
I have Wally and David rolling for themselves.
Yes.
Wally.
5.
David.
7.
Ooh. So
We
all
all
of the
fell
players, with the exception of Shotley, have a less than 10 points worthy landing from the Russian judge. You all managed to come toppling down onto this small wooden stable. It does, based off the spell's description, lower and slow your descent, but you're not necessarily the most stable landing. You come in at a slight angle as you're approaching it, and you manage to touch down on it and land in a roll, and you fall off the top of the roof and land onto the floor below. You land into a huge pile of straw, but you hear Daniel on the other side come flop onto the top of the roof. And he lands with quite a big splash. Shotley lands casually, whipping his hair back and forth. Still looks a little flummoxed about being tossed into the water unwillingly, but seems to be filing his nails as he's sitting there waiting for you guys. You can definitely still tell he's a little irked by it.
All right. So, anybody want to get the other Cyclops off the roof?
Shotley looks around, says, fine, I guess. He threw me in. I'll throw him off. Shotley
Perfect.
stands up, grabs him by his loincloth since he didn't have pants, drags him over to the edge, and starts to pull at it hard, and manages to lift him up by the waist, and spins about, trying to throw him, ends up dragging him to the corner of it, heaving him off, and the loincloth itself gives way underneath his grip, stripping from the body as he then falls ass over tea kettle into the straw below, startling some more horses.
Oh.
Daniel comes back to consciousness, looks about, scratches his head, stands up, and we get a close cropped shot of just from his waist up, looking down at the rest of the party as he's standing up and looks about and looks a little confused. Guys, is it a little cold around here?
You lost your
I lost my what, David?
cloth.
My cloth? What do you mean?
Pant-
He looks down at his shirt. Oh. He crouches down into the straw, grabs a handful to cover himself. Anybody got a spare change of pants?
I'm gonna be like, hey Kirby, can I get a potato sack, please?
You get a very tiny potato sack spat out from Kirby.
You got a larger burlap potato sack.
It spits out a larger burlap sack.
Okay, I then hand it to David and go, cut 2 holes in the bottom of that. Just 2 holes, please. And tell him to pull it over his feet.
Do I have anything to cut with?
Have you not got, like, daggers or some shit? I've got a hammer. What do you think I'm gonna do? It's a burlap sack. I mean, surely even you can do that math.
The DM is catching his breath.
You chillin'.
Is the DM dying of laughter?
Yes.
I do have a dagger, so yes, I would like to go into the backpack, get a dagger, and make 2 leg holes for Daniel.
Alright, go ahead and make an intelligence check.
Oh no.
You accidentally made a 3rd hole, and now we all have to deal with that the rest of the day.
I accidentally made it 1 giant hole because I shredded the whole thing.
It's okay. He's going to take 1d4 chafing damage every turn.
Oh. Way to go. We just got him back.
Vibration damage.
I'm afraid of this roll. Oh! This time I didn't have anything to fear. So... And you just said, well, if it's intelligence either way, it's going to be a 14.
Yes. Alright, so you managed to think long and hard about where you should cut these holes. And you suspect, based off of Wally's description, that you don't want to make the top hole wider. So you cut the two corners at the bottom of it off as best you can. And you reach over and pass it over to Daniel, and he looks a little confused and says, you really don't have any clothes? As the DM hints at your inventory.
Yeah, I mean, before Wally said, I'd ask for stuff. Oh, jeez.
I just did it to cover him as quickly as possible so that Laura wouldn't have to stare at giant Cyclodon.
I don't think Laura's staring, but...
Cyclodon.
He's not Laura's type.
Yeah, but he is 8 feet tall. It's basically at eye level. Like,
Sure.
Ooh.
David, did you have a spare change of clothes?
Yeah, I was going to ask if I have at least a pair of pants
Yes, you do.
that will fit him, because, not all Cyclopses are the same.
Yeah.
now he's going to put the pants on his head.
Not all Cyclopses are cut from the same cloth. You're right.
But if
Some are cut from burlap.
if my Cyclops pants will fit him, then I will give him my pants.
You pass him your pants.
From the backpack.
Laura is very keen to observe that you hesitate for a moment, ready to take off your own pants to give it to him first. Realize, wait, I have a pair in my pack, and you reach into your backpack, pull out your second set, your spare set of pants. Laura gives you.
Do you smell check them to see if they're clean first? Or do you
And I
just
haven't-
give them to him?
I don't think I've worn these pants. These are just the backup pants for
We've
when
been on journeying for a while now. I'm pretty sure you would have had to change your clothes at one point or another. Either that or you smell, sir.
These are they're just the backup pants. You always have that spare set of pants. You change out the primary pants, but you keep a secondary pair just in case you blow out the primary and you're not home.
You didn't smell check them. Roll to see if Daniel vomits.
I think Daniel's got a higher constitution than David.
Quite
He
possibly.
probably does.
Well, you pass him the pair of pants. He's quite enthused by it and very happy to receive them. Puts them on. You see him adjust ever so slightly as he's trying to figure out how to use them. The pants are a little big for him, but he's able to fashion a rope together to make a belt. As he ties it around himself and holds it and says, "Thanks, David."
You can keep the pants if you want to keep them.
You sure?
You can
I
keep
can
both
wash
pairs.
them and give them back.
Well, let's see what happens, by the time we get back home, You may want to keep the pants. They look quite
Thanks.
comfy on you.
Thanks, David. Shotley still clearly pretending to be working on his fingernails at all. Descends slowly, lands on the straw, gets out, brushes it off of Hurst's cloak, adjusts his pink bunny slippers, fixes and situates his Hearst Castle themed sweats, shoots the finger guns and says, "Well, guys, you ready to go?"
Sure.
Go where? I mean, where are we?
Wally, go ahead and make a history check. Laura, too, please.
Okay.
I mean, the buildings I saw from the air.
That's the one I had on. So
That cannot be what I think it is. That's an 18. I know what I want to say this place is, but that's just not possible.
You are quite astute in your assumptions that this is ancient Troy. Based off of the prophecy you had previously received and heard, you suspect this to be some sort of showdown that is to come. You're not too sure which side you're supposed to be on. You're not too sure what's going to be going on. But this is definitely a big confrontation and portion of the quest that you have stumbled upon in ancient Troy.
Okay, based on his prior experiences with other gods and goddesses as we've rolled along, Wally would like to investigate the area to see if there are any little glitches in the matrix that might reveal this to be another of Hecate's illusions.
All right, go ahead and roll investigation.
That's going to be a 24.
You find no signs of foul play or magic in the area. You suspect somehow you've been dragged into either something from Hypno or back in time of somehow in some manner. Because as you approach and investigate the floor, the wood, the constructions, manner and methods and way things are created, you recognize some of the craftsmanship in the area, some of the statuary, a lot of the columns and roads that are paved in the area, the manner in which they are paved, the guards and sentries that are walking along the wall that are quickly taking notice of you and seem to be coming in your direction. They all appear to be pretty period accurate.
I'm going to look back at everybody else and I'm going to go, I don't know how this is possible. This is all period accurate. If I didn't know better, I mean, do I know better? This is Troy, and not like touristy today Troy. This is like proper battles and shite Troy. And then I'm going to take a little bit of brick dust from a crumbling nearby building or whatever, and I'm going to take the brick dust, rub it between my fingers, and then lick it and go, about 68 BCE, Troy, too. I mean, how can we be here? I'm going to look at Laura and Chotle and be like, are we dead?
I hope not. No. No, we're not.
This would be one hell of an afterlife.
Are we asleep? Is someone messing with our minds? Because
let's find out. Chotle turns
no
and smacks Jack as hard as he can in the face. Go ahead and roll an attack.
Oh, okay.
Jack nimbly dodges, ducking out of the way.
Oh, wait.
Ends up accidentally backhanding Chotle in the momentum as he's carrying forward. Go ahead and make an attack for Jack. As they get into a game of ninja, as they're sitting there ducking, diving, whacking at each other. Eventually, you recognize Jack is able to land a substantial whack into Chotle's face. Chotle rubs his face a little bit, a little shocked and surprised at Jack. What? Why would you do that? I don't know. Why would you try to hit me? To see if we're dreaming. You're the golden boy. We'd be in your dream, wouldn't we? I don't know.
Maybe this is my dream.
Cut it out, boys. It's about 1900 years too early for the Three Stooges routine.
We could be famous!
No one will get it.
Fine.
They're all off killing goats and sacrificing them and shit right now. You really think they're going to get a nose boink? You might as well fart in front of them.
David, as you mentioned, maybe you're dreaming. You see Laura's eyes turn to you and go wide for a moment. Laura then asks, well, when was the last time you saw something so enticing as the pool that you jumped in?
I don't know, because so far, David hasn't been charmed to that extent, so... I mean...
I would say the third floor of the big house. because somebody looked in the eyes of our entire group and said, "You don't want to hit me," and everybody just went, "Oh, we're good," and dropped their shit.
I forgot. I did forget about her.
Long time ago.
Oh yeah,
Like episode 6.
that was a long time ago. There was some. It was back a while ago. But we ran across someone in the big house, and I don't know how she did it, but she convinced us all to drop our weapons.
Laura turns to you and, almost ignoring the conclusions that you previously reached, and asks David, well, when was the last time you saw stars like that and wanted to investigate or do anything further with them?
I think that was,
Were you in another city? Were
yes.
you perhaps in a daze of some kind? What was going on to you?
Well, it was when we were in Chicago. I think it was after I got exploded, and it was when I was about to. I put on a diving helmet thingy with a cool front window thingy. I was cool. It got in the way of eating though, so that sucked.
Did you really put on the diving suit, or were you?
No, I did. I actually put on the diving suit.
So, David, in your dream, you were speaking with your father and donned it underneath Lake Michigan.
Yes.
So, you would know ahead of time that it was a dream in which your father gave you that equipment. So, when Laura's asking you and trying to lead you to that conclusion, you would conclude that it was a dream. She's trying to, through my voice, get you to put the conclusion together that you suspect this to also be
a dream
for you.
Oh. Ooh.
Hence the stars.
Oh, pardon me.
Hence something I hinted at back in September.
Oh boy. In that case, yeah. The last time I did see those stars was in a dream with my dad. I haven't really seen those stars since then, and since we just saw them, oh boy. Although I didn't think I could pull other people into my dreams, so I'm not sure if that's going to be a cool thing or if it's just going to be a really scary dream.
Well, you also mentioned you guys had some sort of encounter with Hypno, right? Jack looks over at her. Yeah, we had the Hypno hype train. He took the form of a Hypnotoad and was...
We're all still in the bloody cave.
I suspect that maybe Hypno is influencing your dreams, David. Maybe he's the reason that everybody else gets sucked into this as well.
That doesn't sound good.
And it's at this point you notice a large grouping of guards have slowly been encroaching in the area and investigating your descent. They haven't located you and zeroed in on your position presently. Luckily, Shotley got off the top of the stable. But they saw Jack as a bird descend. They saw the whole party fall and plummet out of the sky into the area. And you notice that they are searching some of the stables. Searching some of the other outlying buildings in the area and haven't yet checked the stables, though you suspect that they might be doing so shortly. Shotley pipes up, looks around, says, hey, I have a disguise kit. Do we want to try to fake our way in? And see if we can do something about that and not get caught?
Sure? I don't know. David's not too up to, he's not up to snuff with his disguising. That's more the Surely Wally thing. If they think it's going to be a good disguise, then
Well, Wally,
Sure.
you're a little more familiar with the tale of Troy than I am. Were there any demigods, heroes, gods that interfered with this? What's the story of this?
Troy was. Well, I think it's largely thought by both camps to be one of the biggest mistakes. It was one of the major civil wars between the Greeks and Romans came to a head in this place. A lot of things happened or didn't happen depending on who you choose to believe. But what I'll say is, all we know for sure is that after the events took place, that I think are yet to take place here, and things are going to get very ugly indeed. But from this moment onward, it was thought best to keep the Greeks and Romans separate, and that's why the two camps were come up with. So it's going to get bad. I'm not sure exactly what to expect. There's nobody alive today who could give us that information, or in the case of Sharon, who will give us that information, even if he has it. So here we are. Something's about to happen, and I think we're inside somebody's dream. I've no idea if we die here, if that means we die in the real world, or if it means we wake up.
Well, it's probably best to be safe than to be sorry later. I'd hate to stab you, Jack, and then wake up and find you actually dead.
Someone stab Chotley real quick. Daniel pipes up. Oh, I'll do it.
nah, you might only get one more dead.
Chotley immediately resists all attempts at his life.
Stop trying to stab the little dude.
Daniel ceases and desists from his attempts. Jack shrugging as well, saying, I guess we'll just have to play it out, I guess. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? We just have to defend Troy, right? It looks like those people aren't happy. They're following those other people. What could possibly go wrong?
I mean, a lot could probably go wrong.
Alright, Wally, go ahead and roll perception.
Who roll perception?
David and Wally.
Because
Nat 20. So that'd be a 22. Hey, David, look at that. Look what I perceive, David.
I got a lucky 13.
No, over here. Look what I'm pointing. I know you've no depth perception with just the one eye, but look right here.
What's depth perception?
It's a measure how
but
far
whatever.
you are underwater.
So what do we perceive, or what is Wally trying to help me perceive?
Wally is very quick and astute to notice that the guards are quickly closing in on your position, and they seem to be shouting in Greek back and forth with each other about closing in on trying to find what fell out of the sky, what the gods have blessed them with, what's going on, and trying to find out why there was this symbol of Zeus descending into their midst when normally there isn't such birds in the area, since Jack chose the form of an eagle when he descended into the area.
I'm gonna lean towards my backpack. Kirby, can I get a worn black traveling cloak?
It spits out a slightly grayed black traveling coat.
Can I get 3 more of these?
It spits them out in varying sizes and degrees of worn. Degrees of wear.
Is there one that's roughly dwarven sized?
The first one was. You get several others that are other sizes as well, including one that is Cyclops sized.
Only one that's Cyclops sized. Okay.
3 more you've received, yes.
Okay, so I'm going to ask for another Cyclops one. I'm going to start passing them out to everybody else and look over at Chotley and go, so, your way or the easy way?
Shelley shrugs. I guess we just try to hide with everyone, but I don't know if they get many travelers through here.
Do any of us speak Greek?
Yes.
Wally and Jack do, for sure. I believe
Really
Shelley
hoping
does
to
as well.
avoid that this time.
Hades boy isn't here to make his own pun, but it's all
Yeah,
Greek to him.
I'd really rather not talk to the cops if we can avoid it. So maybe let's just stick to the shadows and sneak from alley to alley and try and find our way towards the city center. Maybe ask a barkeep somewhere for information about what exactly is going on here and how exactly we wake up.
Alright, Wally, you'll be taking points on this. Shotley manages to help disguise and show more signs of wear and tear on robes, making sure that they fit, and using his disguise kit to apply some dirt, a little spit, and some makeup on people to make sure they look haggard and tired, more so than they actually already do. And since you're taking point, Wally, go ahead and roll stealth.
Does Laura react in any way to the plan?
Laura shrugs and says, well, I'm not too good at faking disguises, but, I'd rather not talk to random people if I can avoid it.
Did you hear the bit about, sneaking through the alleyways into the center of town and just trying to eavesdrop till we get to a bar where we can maybe buy some information?
You're on point, Wally. I'll follow you. We just gotta be quick.
Oh, sorry, I thought she was in the room with you. My bad. Anyways, onward! And keeping to the shadows, I rolled a straight 18, so that's a 28 with my bonus.
Alright. You manage to find and maneuver your way through as a bunch of guards were circling around trying to find you. They all get to one side of the area and discuss, and amongst themselves while they're talking, you hear, well, I guess they must have fallen in the stables. There's been nobody tending those for weeks. It must smell real rotten over there, doesn't it? You get a lighthearted chuckle from the group as you sneak by. Continuing in your path, and I will maneuver everyone. So that way you're able to show where you're going. Look, it's David.
That's me. I'm Teal.
Oh, sorry.
Big Teal in the
You are
house.
big.
Seriously.
Where are we going?
On an
Wally's
adventure.
Oh, okay.
So, Wally, if you follow the eastern direction, you know that is heading towards more of the richer neighborhoods since they are getting closer towards the town's center. If you continue in a western direction, it is definitely more towards some of the broken and dilapidated and sometimes decrepit buildings that are over there. A lot of them look to be abandoned and worn. Which way do you head?
Well, entirely using alleyways and side streets means that we're going to be skirting the perimeter of the town, basically. But I do want to head towards the Citadel. So around the perimeter from where we are, I would say that's counterclockwise. So we'll start working our way around that direction, and then at some point, if I see a tavern or anything like that, I'll just lean towards Laura and be like, "Let me know if you see any place that you like. We can try to barter for information." But it sounds like you and our friend David the Monoclops have a better handle on why we're supposed to be here than I do. What exactly is going on here?
Oh, what do I know?
Laura, you questioned on some of the hypno encounter that they previously had. Hypno being the god of sleep.
Yep.
You suspected and conveyed to David that you thought he was dreaming, that this may be another encounter based off of that.
What?
So you gave that insight, but you have no clue as to what it means or why you're here in particular.
Got it.
David,
Yes.
you would know next to nothing about this entire scenario, city, or people that are here. But you would know that you're on an island, that you like ships, that there's a lot of them coming, and you can hear the horses communicating with you nearby, and they are definitely a little bit confused as to why they've been left alone for so long, a little hungry, and definitely looking for any reason to get out because they've been trapped inside of there for weeks.
Aw, poor horsies.
Boom, boom, boom.
Can I ask the horses where we are? Also say hello to the horses?
You converse with the horses and recognize they don't know the name of the city they're at. They just know that it keeps getting called Troy, so they think that's what it's called here. They say they've been left alone for a couple of weeks since their master died, and they beg and plead with you, "Will you please open the stable?"
Free us, Lord!
I mean, if I open the stable, won't they just catch you and put you back in here?
Maybe, but wouldn't that be a great distraction for you? I don't know, I get hints.
Good. Well, I don't know what a great distraction is, but I do know what it's like to be locked up inside for weeks at a time sometimes. That's not fun. So David wants to open the gate.
Good meta horsies.
Hey, that's my name.
Oh, nice. The horsey's name is Meta? That's beautiful.
And then when I open the gate, I'd also like to offer them some hay and be like, well, you can't go running around on an empty stomach.
They immediately eat as much hay as you pass to them and sprint at the guards that were inspecting nearby. They gallop full speed past them. The guards just about jump out of their skins, surprised at this now rush of horses. Loud noises, huge clouds of dust distracting them, and you hear a couple of bells start to ring. Ding, 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 ding. Oh, we better go get those. And they run off and chase in a eastern direction as they're heading towards the richer districts nearby. Wally, you are easily able to make your way in your... Did you choose clockwise or counterclockwise?
We were going counterclockwise towards the Citadel. At least if I'm reading the map correctly, that's the shortest route, right?
That it is. You would also know if you consider going clockwise, you can traverse through an open area up ahead.
No, we want to stay to the alleyways. Keeping it low-key.
So
The
this
horses told us lots of useful information, though. Well, they told David. I just saw him let some horses loose, and now they're going crazy.
You would know that if you continue going to the right, that is the main thoroughfare. You could try to traverse through some of the buildings immediately in front of you into the open area between houses and continue in a linear path if you'd like. Towards the Citadel.
Okay.
So maybe I should clarify what the map is first. I didn't realize that.
I thought it was a pond.
This greenish area. That, my friends, that extends from here in this area here.
Can't see any of what you're doing. The stream has just shown me a small corner of the map.
Ah. Well, let me adjust this as soon as I'm done drawing the border wall. So, I'm trying to demonstrate on the photo editor, which should be on the top portion just above Troy, not actually on the depiction of Troy itself.
Mm-hmm.
Should be able to show. Do you see the black rectangle that you guys are for the stable and the red star that's on it?
Mm-hmm.
If you continue in a northwestern direction, you will reach the orange buildings that are there. They are outcroppings, apartments, buildings, and things like that. On your immediate left-hand side, those that are on the closer to the outer walls of the structure of of Troy, they themselves do show signs of wear and tear, abandonment, dilapidation, decrepitation. They are themselves nearly falling apart. If you continue to go to your right in an eastern direction, that is towards the more well-to-do areas. So you would know that if you continue to go this direction as you were describing, you'd be going towards where the guards are pursuing the horses and into the more readily seen areas.
I'm gonna look at David and be like, "Which way did the horses go?"
David's just gonna point down the road in the direction the horses went. They went that way.
Towards the rich people? Okay. Alright, well then we want to go the other way.
Why wouldn't the horses want to go over to the rich people place? It's probably where they got all the best snacks for horses.
Do you know how rare steel is? Getting steel cut oats is very difficult.
Well, that and the over here you just have like a communal stable. Over there you have one stable per house.
Dang.
Like a three, sometimes up to 3-horse stable per house.
They're friggin' spoiled over there.
That's why it's the rich part of town.
Purple arrow, Cornelius.
Pardon?
Purple?
Correct. The assumption is if you continue in a clockwise direction, you'll be purple. If you consider continuing in the counterclockwise direction, you'll be the red arrow.
Right, and having clarified that the horses became the red arrow, I would now like to be the purple arrow.
Fantastic. All right. What did you roll for stealth again, Wally?
It was a 28.
Nice. All right, so you are easily able to maneuver your squad through the alleyways and areas nearby. You follow along this path, and you recognize that you're able to get in between these buildings. These orange squares, these are buildings. Some of them appear to be merchant stalls. Some of them appear to be apartment buildings. You find a couple of blacksmitheries, a carpenter's area, a fletchery. It is this huge, sprawling town, and it takes you about 5 minutes just to traverse these few squares in a darting between sections, trying to cling to the shadows, keep yourselves out of sight manner. You reach a traversing junction where you can choose to go between some buildings if you so see fit, which, as your description was, then continue, hang a right-hand turn, head north by northeast, and continue to the Citadel if that's where you'd like to head. Or wherever you want to go.
It's the middle of the day. We're in kind of the seedy part of town. Is there a bar nearby? A tavern?
You may roll investigation if you wish. As may the remainder of the group if they wish to as well.
Yeah, I'll look for it.
They don't have to. I got a 30.
Oh!
All right, Wally, you smell the amazing, long hinted at, well-earned and deserved hidden Taco Temple. You smell it in particular from one of these very keen establishments in the richer side of town, but you smell it because it smells to be the most amazing, oddly specific nacho cheese filled tacos and commodities you have ever smelled. They smell to be beyond belief and absolutely scrumptious. These have been hinted at, and Jack, as you are noticing them, does also get a faint whiff, but he can't identify where it's from, but immediately shows interest and says, "This smells familiar. This smells like something my dad told me I should investigate."
I want to look at David to see if he's still on the ground or if he's started to levitate in the direction of the food.
Mouth is watering. He's all for it.
Lips are being licked.
Can you smell which direction it's coming from? I mean, you got a little bit more altitude than I do.
So where are we in relation to this? Because all I can see is you zoomed in.
I'm drawing an extensive amount of stars in a golden shape. Golden color. Depicting where the smell is originating from for the Taco Temple.
We're all made of stars.
The Taco Temple.
You recognize that this is the home of the gordita that you have so sought after and chased for your, not whole life, but solid chunk of the most recent present.
I'm going to point in the direction of the food smell, which looks like it's...
You're there. You are this red star.
Oh, so we're at that kind of looking intersection type thing. There we go. I will point between the two buildings. It looks like there's a gap there.
Yep.
I will point between the two buildings and say, that way.
I'm going to look at Laura. How does she appear? Happy? Sad? Upset? Confused?
I'd say confused. I mean, not sure if anyone's mentioned Taco Temple by name, but I don't think she would know exactly why everyone's all obsessed over something all of a sudden.
No, but Wally's going to look over at her and just be like, do you know, I think we've all had a pretty hard day. Let's go get some comfort food and start leading everybody off in that direction, I guess.
All right. You do recognize that the upper tiers of the Taco Temple do appear to be a facade. They are a building that operates as a mercantile district in this area. It is only through a back alleyway that you are able to see a staircase that descends into the ground. And that is where you sense and you smell the aroma arising from the ground.
After you, Biggin.
I will follow my nose for the taste that shows.
All right. You manage to find a way into the Taco Temple, the long hinted and foreseen amazing eatery. You hear the resounding bells coming from the mercantile district above you as it appears to be lunchtime as you're arriving. It hasn't been much time for you guys. You woke up at about 10, had a huge breakfast, but even so, with all of the harassments, adrenaline, conversations, everything that's been going on, you get a little bit peckish, and you can't help but want to investigate, especially when Wally's trying to find a place for you guys to hide away.
Yeah.
At least avoiding the cops for the moment.
Plus, belly flopping onto a pool and sinking through the pool / falling out of the sky really works up an appetite.
Does. All right.
Time works different in dreams. We've been here for 60 years. I'm hungry.
All right. Well, we are going to end the stream here a little early. Why are you making that face?
Oh, because I was just trying to read the time.
Thank you for joining, everyone. Thank you for participating. It's been my pleasure to have you. I hope that Shotley will be able to return next week for the long-awaited arrival of the Taco Temple.
I was about to ask if that is why the stream is concluding sooner.
That is, yes. I wanted to see if he would have any input into it and if he would be able to be here for it. If not, we will definitely continue as normal, and I will continue to pilot Shotley for the remainder of it. But it's definitely something that has been hinted at in the past and something that has definitely been mentioned a few times as having alternative locations all over the world, a secret underground method of conveying taco-based information, that sort of thing.
Now, I am going to completely laugh if we approach the counter inside of the Taco Temple, or approach anything that resembles a counter, and they pull out a basket of phones and say, throw them. We don't know what these are, but throw them.
So, Laura, that's a throwback to how David initially got his price point for his first gordita that he bought from the Taco Temple while he was in Chicago. There was an intellectual challenge that was affronted to David, describing the pricing for the gordita to be corresponding to the phones. But David didn't understand what that meant, as I'm getting and suspecting based off your facials as well.
So
It was
David
a
ends
test.
up throwing one phone, because he's presented a cell phone and is told, throw it as far as you can. So David's like, alright, and yeets that phone, and it hits a building and explodes. And then he gets given a second phone. Throw the phone. So he does it again and hits the same building, phone explodes. While he's getting hit with cell phone debris, he's like, where's the phones coming from? And
Tried to catch one.
And when given the third phone and told, we'll throw this phone, David was like, why am I throwing the phones? And he's like, that's the right question. Now you can get food, and now we know how much your food is worth.
Because the more phones you throw, the lower your intelligence is, assumedly, the more they charge you.
Okay.
So I'm going to laugh if it's like a phone or rocks in the shape of phones.
They just
Be
have
like, throw
bricks.
this.
They're all Nokia phones. They just have you bricks. Say, throw them at our competitors. We'll give you tacos for free.
Wait a minute, I've done this before.
Well, thank you everyone for participating. It's been my pleasure.
Thank you for having us.